We are live. Welcome to the RedBlue Pod number 56. Today we got a lot of topic in a very limited time. So, how are you, DC?
As of as of right now, I've been doing fine. Last couple of days have definitely been rough, though.
I understand, man. I really hope things will kind of fix themselves. They usually do. Let's hope it's the case. What about you, Cole? How are you today?
Pretty good for the most part. Again, always with life, it's never perfect. There's always a handful of things that are fucked, but but outside of those things that are like kind of a guaranteed, every week that you kind of just have to deal with. I mean, it's been pretty good. I've been there has been a lot of issues with certain things that I still need to be get fixed, but there's a lot of things that in other areas that I've gotten fixed with that is very relieving now. And so finally getting started. I can finally get started building a house on the property I have here. So hopefully that will go smoothly. Yeah.
Hire a professional for that because you don't want
Oh no,
anybody
I
to
do. I
disturb
had
the
to get
house.
people like landscaping the whole thing and everything. But yeah, I'm probably gonna build like I'm gonna have this mainly all the basic stuff, but then of course a room for just streams and games and stuff, and then I'm building an underground area, which will be a home theater with like a bar. So
That sounds amazing, man. Bar and theater like that, home theater.
yeah. I'm gonna buy like a $200 like popcorn maker. You get a
Wow,
theater.
wow. I'm hungry. I want to eat. Um. So, I forgot to ask you, DC. Did you have time to watch my adventures with Superman?
Oh, yeah, I did. I had time to watch it.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, I've
that's
actually
good.
got some good news about it.
Yeah,
Again,
you said
it,
there's extra episode.
yeah.
Where
So basically, being chaos, like we spoke about it before. Yeah, there was never a confirmation until this point this week of like how many episodes season one would have of the show. Some sites said 10, others said 5, but it was never confirmed by the people airing the episodes or anything. It was never officially confirmed at all. So people were just like going with 5 episodes, and then we'll see if there's any more in season one. But for the most part, they were just going to guess 5, and for them, it was looking like that was going to be the case because they had that cliffhanger with the huge reveal thing in episode 4 and then episode 5, of discovering it, and then also like a cliffhanger with at the end of episode 5 with the change in music and the credits and everything. So a lot of people thought, okay, that it was the case. It would only be 5 episodes, and that's it. And season two would probably be like next year. But apparently, no. They then now confirmed, there would be 10 episodes now. Still weekly. So next episode will be around. Well, I believe it's August 3rd now. The release date for it is. But yeah,
I'm glad to hear that because so far I am enjoying the show. It's not perfect. It has
yeah.
a few issues
Oh yeah,
here and
it's not
there.
perfect, but it's getting Superman right, which
Yeah,
other things recently didn't, like a certain film.
yeah. I won't name drop Man of Steel. No, no, no. That's not Man
Hmm.
of Steel. What are you talking about? It's so accurate. He unalive someone. I mean, that's the perfect Superman,
Sure,
right?
it was like it was like the equivalent of giving like a dyslexic person like the screenplay rights for it, and then having somebody with Alzheimer's direct it.
No, I trashed the movie right now, but I actually liked Man of Steel. I think DC did as well, and
Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, well,
yeah.
have you rewatched it in recent time?
No, I didn't. And
Well,
I
we'll go through it later,
yeah,
at a later
eventually
time.
once we covered the 50 plus Disney thing with MCU and shenanigans,
Yeah, I
if
mean,
we are
there's actually
still
not that
alive.
much stuff MCU based, Like, yeah,
No,
we're
I'm
probably gonna
joking.
do after the TV shows that aren't MCU based, like Agents of Shield. We'll probably do the universe in order instead
The
of watching
movies,
the
yeah.
other shows. Yeah, so it'll be the movies instead. So during that time, there won't be any TV show topics, I guess, but it will be the movies instead. But then when it gets up to the, like when they made the shows, then we're of course being doing those, which are only like one season each. So I mean,
Yeah. And I forgot, but I didn't mention Peacemaker, right? Because that's another
mhm.
thing we gotta cover
Oh yeah, we're
before we
doing that.
move
Right? We're doing all that stuff. Don't worry.
to Marvel stuff. So yeah, that's for the short intro. We will dive deep into my adventures with Superman. So who wants to start on episode 5?
You want to Marvel?
I guess I will. Okay, so I thought this was actually the weakest episode so far. Um, yeah, things I liked. I enjoyed some of the story elements. I enjoyed Jimmy's storyline, and I also enjoyed the mystery behind Lois trying to figure out the mystery with Clark. Though that does kind of is one of my main issues. Um, I enjoyed Superman's fight with Deathstroke in the episode. So yeah. Other things I enjoyed, kind of the usual. I enjoyed the humor, etc. Now, as for the things I did not like, um, the thing I did not enjoy was that the final scene where Lois jumps off a building just so to prove to Clark that she knows he's Superman, and she just goes on a rant. Like, I didn't like that scene that much because I just felt it was just forced. And besides, I feel like I understood Clark's reason for doing it, but I did not understand Lois. Like, I get maybe he lied, but it's not that big of a deal. I mean, there are worse crimes than that.
I'm on board with you, man.
I
Anything
mean,
else?
Not, not for me.
So Cole will try to defend that.
no, I'm
I'm
not gonna
excited to hear
defend.
about it.
Wait, what do you mean defend? You think I'm automatically gonna defend that?
I think nobody liked that shit.
Well, no. Here's the thing. I don't. Yeah, I heard about it before even saw the episode, and I thought I was gonna hate it. And I'm saying it wasn't done too well. It definitely could have been done better. But I mean, I don't think it was as terrible as people made it out to seem in the context of it. Like, here's the thing. Obviously, like we obviously, people more like relate to like Clark's motives in it, and instead of like hers and all that. But I mean, that wasn't the point of it, though. I mean, I don't think they were like trying to like do that. The point of it, was just to show some just conflict that can happen just naturally. Like that is, like again, obviously, we're more in agreement with Clark, and what she did is a little and how she got angry. But however, it is realistic though. Like and also for her to always be just like to get like frustrated to an extent after like starting to be more open with it and him just like dodging everything. Like it can get frustrating. Like you're just like just being seen as just like a tool. So I mean so I mean it's realistic, the frustration and everything. So because of that, I don't think it was terrible. And yeah, and I mean and I thought it was gonna. Also, I thought like after she jumped off and he caught her, that they would go a different route. But the route they went with, I actually didn't mind. It was actually them giving both of their views on it, and just having a bit of a conflict instead of like something else stupid. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't done too well. I'm not saying that. It was definitely one of the weaker points in this whole episode. That and I didn't like some of the animation in the first half of the episode. I thought it was a little bit lazy, but outside of that, I don't know. I think it was not done horribly, as some people said, or with how with all that stuff. But there was something else. Oh yeah, right. Some people brought up. I heard somebody brought up like saying, like they showed like how fast Superman could like fly and do stuff, so they actually were saying why he could have like changed out and into his suit before catching her when she purposely jumped off as Superman. But I mean, I don't understand like why people are saying bringing that up as like a flaw though, because it still would have proved her point because Superman wouldn't have known that she was there, only Clark, so it still would have. So that's why he didn't, because there was no point. So I don't understand why people try to bring that up as a flaw. But anyway, with the rest of the episode, though, no, I didn't mind again some of the animation. I think in the first half or whatnot was lazy with some of the fighting, but then in the second half it was a hell of a lot better, and it was actually pretty fantastic. Especially the robot stuff, they did a lot better in this episode than episode one. And then also, yeah, some of the character stuff with Jimmy I thought was interesting. Uh, and which again, after episode 4, that's what they were setting up, which they did well. And then I like the ending. I guess it hints at Gorilla Grok, I believe, but I don't know. Anyway, what did you think, Multi?
That was the episode like right in the middle. Not the worst, not the best.
Yeah, definitely
Um,
wasn't like a great one, but
yeah. I thought the humor didn't land. Lois is a typical trope of the "you lied to me, so I ate you." I truly ate that shit. You know me. The only show I will defend with that trope will be Stargirl because it was well handled, well written, and they were smart. But most of the time
yeah.
with that
Well,
trope,
I mean, yeah, I'd have to agree with you, but I will say I don't think it was as much doing that in this. I think it was more so just being frustrated that like not trusting her in his eyes, but then with what Clark said, you understand his motive. But so I think that's more what it was like doing than just the "you lied to me" thing.
yeah, but yeah, that these are my two big issues. But they did wait a lot because usually 2 issues. It's not that many for me, but here it did wait a lot. As of the likes, I thought Lois up to the end, she was enjoyable and likable. It's really in the very end when she snaps at Clark for lying to her that I was like, yeah, I'm out of it. The action was entertaining. That episode was really action packed. It felt like they really wanted a lot of action there, and they did a lot of things. There was a lot of action and not that much story, which was surprising. The music, I enjoyed it. Here again, the big action piece was great when they blew up the bridge and then Clark tried to save people. I really like that. Um, so I don't have much more to say there. Overall, that episode for me is the 8.5 out of 10, right in the middle because I did give a lot of eights and a lot of nines. So it's really like middle. What about you, Cole?
Oh,
What
sorry
would
about
be
what?
your
Oh, my
what?
grade.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, my grade would be like around the 6.5 or 7. It was definitely one of the more. It wasn't one of the strongest ones. It wasn't the worst. I still think episode 1 is the weakest, which was still a solid episode. It just had issues for me, but I'd say this is probably like the second weakest though, but it's still good. Uh,
yeah.
what about you, Marvel?
I'd give it a 6.5, so around yours, Nicole.
That's very interesting. So anything else to add for my adventures with Superman?
No, that's about it for me.
I guess not. So I marked down the timestamp because we are moving on to another topic. Um, since the guests are not here yet, I suggest we can move on to Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol because I'm pretty sure only the 3 of us have seen it, probably not the guests. So, what guys are thinking about that?
All right, I'm fine with it.
Who wants to start as I try to find my notes?
I'll start.
Okay.
Hmm. I don't know what to really think of Ghost Protocol. I don't think it's the worst in the franchise, but I don't think it's the best. I mean, there are moments I think it has some good moments, but there are times in the film where I think it's probably the worst. But I mean, it's not like the worst thing in the world. Some of my issues with Ghost Protocol are, I think Ghost Protocol is probably the slowest when it comes to the pacing. As it kind of takes a while for the plot to kick in. It's really when they reach Dubai that's when the film starts to get quick and faster. Um, because I think all the scenes in Russia were pretty slow, and yeah, and after that, you had the fight scenes. The fight scenes which are incredible. The famous Burj Khalifa scene, which is amazing. Which yeah, I have to give credit to Tom Cruise for doing that because no person has the crazy mindset to do the things he does, but the way he pulls them off is incredible. Um, I I also enjoy the some of the scenes in the Kremlin before it eventually blows up, especially when it blows up as well. Now onto my negatives. Like I said before, I think it's by far the slowest. For me, it takes a while until they reach Dubai. I thought the scenes in Russia were not the best scenes for me. Let's see. I also thought the villain was lame. Hmm. And I also did not like the storyline where Ethan is getting hunted by that Russian guy. I just thought that was a really bad storyline for me. Apart from those, I'm pretty much done.
Okay. I also got a few issues, and I fully understand where you are coming from. Fun fact: I had seen the movie in the past, like in 2011 when it came out digitally. I had seen it, and I thought back then the pacing was terrible. I actually fell into sleep and woke up at the building scene, and then I was like, "Oh, the movie finally picked up after an hour." This most recent watch, I felt otherwise. I actually thought the pacing was fine. It's not the fastest, but it's not the worst by any means. But that's just me 12 years later. I still have a bunch of issues there. Uh, Issue number one, plot convenience. Ethan just happening to find a car that wasn't moving as he was chasing after the guy in the sandstorm. Plot convenience number two, a truck just happened to be around to ease the villain escape. Here again, that's like in the sandstorm. Next up, telling instead of showing the analyst backstory. Um, Guys know how I feel about that. Even if that there was a plot twist by the end with this, I still wish we had seen that instead of being told. And what they could have done is like make the faces of the people involved darker so we don't see who's really involved. But that would maybe ruin the twist, but at least they would show us, or maybe show us by the end of the movie as you do the twist. Um, so yeah. Next up, people cannot aim again, and this is funny because the aiming of the people in the franchise only gets worse from now on. It's like really crazy because the other three, maybe the third one, people didn't know how to aim, but the first two one that wasn't anywhere near as bad as where it goes with Ghost Protocol or Rogue Nation and Fallout. Anyway, people cannot aim. I'm really bothered by this shit. So yeah, these are my issues. Did you have any issues, Cole?
Oh yeah, I mean I had issues. It's nothing like specifically. Like again, this franchise has never been one where I was that impressed by. Like even Fallout and ones like that people claim that are like amazing action films. I never thought so. I think they're very good. Just not too special. And yeah, just this whole franchise I've had pros and cons with, and you sometimes it's like they focus too much on set pieces and not really with story in them, and then other points, all the spy missions and set pieces are like pushed to the side for stories, which and villain stuff, which is good, but then don't really matter in the grand scheme of things that they try to set up and make it seem like it will matter more in the franchise later on. The third one, but the but with this one though, I think this was again. I might have bias for this because of nostalgia, because this was the first one I saw in theaters. But I think this. I'm not saying this is the best film. I really don't know what the best film would be in the franchise. Like maybe the six. But I think this was the closest and best combination yet of like the story, the set pieces, action, the acting, and everything in one of the films. Yeah, and is also the most memorable one with the best pacing. I think, in my opinion, I like usually I find this franchise to be quite forgettable at a lot of points, but this is the one that I found to be the most memorable, and I think. All the stunt stuff and everything was pretty creative. Was a lot more creative and memorable than a lot of the other ones in some films, in my opinion. Like even like the one, the first one in Russia that's supposed to be more of a minor one. And also the supporting cast, I think this was possibly like the best film with the supporting cast performances with
I agree.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially Simon Pegg. I think this is his best Mission Impossible film. So yeah, because of, and of course the big set pieces like the building, really effective on me because I have a huge thing with heights, here a huge fear. So for me, this is probably my personal favorite Mission Impossible films, and one of the best for me in the franchise because of all that. And again, there's obviously issues here and there, like the ones we brought up. Some moments with the I guess some pacing moments, even though I think the pacing is one of the best out of all the other films, and I think it always has had issues. Some writing or character and stuff bits, I guess, and just other flaws that are usually in a Mission Impossible film. But for the most part, I think this did the best job at it, though. Uh, I didn't mind the storyline as well on the side with the guy, chasing him. But yeah,
So, is there any likes you would like to share, DC, before I move on with my likes?
Mm. And not for me.
Okay, so I thought the action was great. The opening scene was really cool. The prison sequence was cool. The intro was creative. The technology of Fake Wall was really cool. The music when Ethan left the base. The ambush was great. The team meeting and the lore was cool. I got vertigo just by looking at Ethan climbing the glass of walls on the building. Now, as a side note here, I did suspend disbelief when one of his gloves broke and he was still able to climb that building. I was like, yeah, okay, let's just pretend he can still do it. And I also suspend disbelief the way he just entered back in the room. So they really stretched my belief. Like you mentioned in Mission Impossible franchise, you need to suspend disbelief. Here in that whole sequence, I did for the sake of the movie. If this happens too much, that becomes an issue. But here, they were just like at the right place for me to not really complain about it. Um, so the staircase fight was great. Every fight scenes were well done. I really enjoyed the fight scene. even if the villain kind of sucked, in the end he really wanted to achieve his goal, and he was willing to die for it, and that was very interesting. I like that. I think him and the guy in the third one were very special. When it comes to the second and the first one, they were kind of lame. The first one is like he's the plot twist, so that's cool, but he is not a very impressive villain. As of the second one, he's just boring like the rest of the movie. So yeah, Ghost Protocol has some kind of breath of fresh air, and it's very funny because we got Jeremy Renner playing a the analyst, basically the analyst that had a field agent past and backstory. I really like Jeremy Renner. I thought he was better in Rogue Nation, but he did what he was meant to do in Ghost Protocol, and I like that. So when it comes to movies, I think this movie would be probably second or third in my list because I still think the first one was the strongest one. That was the one where I had the least amount of issue. Like all of the issue came up by the end of the movie. As of this one, I just had slightly more issues. Even if I thought there was a lot of plot convenience in the Sandstorm chase, I still like the Sandstorm chase. I'm just bothered by the fact that things line up like the perfect way for things to happen, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't work very well for me. So, are you guys in any desire to add something else, or we can move to the grade for Ghost Protocol?
We can move to the grade for me.
Okay, what about you, DC? What's your grade?
Mm, Probably a 6.5. I was originally gonna go with a 5, but I thought, maybe it's a little too harsh, so a 6.5.
Okay, what about you, Cole? What is your grade out of 10, Cole?
I'll give it a 7.5.
As of me, this is a 8.5 out of 10. I remember giving the same thing to the third one, but I do think Ghost Protocol is better. So even if they have the same grade, I think Ghost Protocol is better. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, let's move on to the next one, which is Rogue Nation.
Right. I mean, I'll go first just because it's going to be short. Yeah, this is one. I remember seeing at like the drive-through theater, and it's one a lot of people hyped up like Fallout, saying, "Oh, this is such an excellent action movie," and it's like I mean, it has definitely some great stunts. Like, of course, the one I believe this is the one where he's like hanging outside of the plane, right?
Yeah,
And
that's the.
Yeah,
they were gonna like properly like tie him or connect him on the outside of the plane more securely, but they were having trouble with it. So then Tom Cruise was just like, fuck it, just take off. I'll just hold on." So yeah, so it's just like the thing on his hand. That's what he was holding on to. Yep, that's it. This crazy motherfucker. Uh, yeah, but yeah, God, and yeah, this whole fucking movie is like him trying to kill himself. Holy fuck. Anyway, yeah, there's definitely definitely some great stunts and all that stuff, great set pieces, and the one in like the roof, like dining thing or whatever it was. Yeah, yeah, so yeah, that was great. Now, when it comes to like the story and everything, though, I wasn't the biggest. It was just forgettable to me. It wasn't very interesting. It was kind of forgettable. I wasn't really the biggest fan of this one for the most part, really. I don't know if that's just me or whatnot, but yeah. Uh, I mean, I like the again the characters are also good in this, and yeah, I think this is this and Fallout are some of the best with. Actually, sorry, hold on, let me remember. How many was she in again?
And that
Okay.
one,
Oh yeah,
the
right. Rebecca Ferguson. This is her first one in the series, right?
yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. I was just gonna say. Okay. No, I was thinking of Fallout. Yeah, the Fallout was what I thought was one or best performance out of the Mission Impossible series. Yeah, sorry, not this one, but so I liked her character in this. I'm glad she was introduced. But yeah, that's about it. I just this is for me one of the this and Fallout are just it's ones that a lot of people hype up that I just really I don't know. But I mean, listen, at least Baldwin didn't shoot anybody on set during this film, so.
That's funny because when I was watching for the name for the actors, because I thought the actresses were kind of cool, and I was like, oh, I want to see more movie of these girls. And then I see Alec Baldwin. I'm like, oh, that's the guy that shot someone.
Yeah. Oh god, and there's this one film that good lord, it has aged like a fine wine just looking at it. Let's you know what? Let's screen share this, shall we? Real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just look at this shit. First off, look at the poster. Look at him holding the gun.
Yeah.
And
So they
look
will
at the
use that
title.
in court to say he shot someone.
Yeah, no, this is a film from 2004. It's called The Last Shot, and it has Alec Baldwin in it, and also Matthew Broderick, who killed two people in the past and got away with it with $175 bond because he's a celebrity. And it's called The Last Shot, and has a poster of them holding guns behind a camera, which is what happened. And the
You
premise,
gotta
Oh.
see that,
and,
bro.
yeah, and the
Even if
premise
it's a
is so
shit
similar
movie,
to a
even if
movie
it's
director, screenwriter.
even if it's a shit movie, we gotta see it.
I mean, I don't know if we're gonna see it, but God, but either way, this has held up like a fine wine. That is so ironic. Oh fuck. That I mean, I maybe not held up, just aged poorly. I don't know.
And you know what's funny? Right now, I'm taking a look at my notes, and I actually believe this one I liked it more than Ghost Protocol. That's so Ghost Protocol would basically be the third best one for me. Um, I I really enjoyed it. So do you have anything else to add, Cole?
No, that's it. Yeah, this and Fallout. I'm probably not gonna say too much about.
Okay. What about you, DC? Any issues with Rogue Nation?
Hmm. My one and only issue in Rogue Nation was early on in this in the film where it's after Ethan and Ilsa have like that torture tag scene, and Ethan goes to run, and he's running, and keep in mind he's shirtless, and you have people who are shooting at him, and I find that hard to believe he didn't at least got out of it with at least a single injury. Yes, I know people can survive gunshots, but I still find it very hard to believe that he didn't at the very least got wounded or at least hit at one point. But that's like my only issue because I think it's a little bit too much of the plot and a little bit plot as well, and or maybe characters can't aim. But yeah, apart
So
from that,
you see what I'm feeling now. You see my pressure when I see these stupid people that receive guns and they shoot everywhere except on the guy. So
yeah,
you see my feeling now. I'm glad I'm no more alone in this world.
yeah.
Anything else, DC?
As for negatives, no. As for my positives, I'd say I enjoy this movie a lot. I enjoy the opera shooting scene where it's very suspenseful, very a lot of tensions. Um yeah, and I like how Hunt actually shoots the guy not in a fatal area, but making just to save his life. But I think the reason I enjoy the scene is because of the music, and I think the music actually adds something. I enjoyed the playing scene, the opening scene. I think it's incredible. I enjoyed the syndicate or the main villains. I thought that they were very very unique type of antagonist. As Benji, as that refers to the anti-IMF, which I enjoyed, and I enjoyed the underwater sequence where Tom Cruise literally holds his breath for like around 5 or 6 minutes. I enjoyed that. Let's see. I think that's about it. And I also enjoy the car chase that turns into a motorcycle chase as well. But yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay, so I got a few issues. Fun fact: I had more issues as I was watching, but there's one issue I actually erased. So I will specify the CIA boss. At first, I was like, okay, he's just that plot device character that will try to stop Ethan, and it will be a one-dimensional character. And I was damn right. Until the end, when he realizes, oh, the IMF is actually important. So, in fact, this what seems to be a plot device character actually learned something. So he got character growth. He got an actual character arc during that movie, and that redeemed what I thought would be an issue in the end. So props on that, because usually when I see a character as being just a plot device and nothing more, it's a complaint for me. It's an issue for me because you need layers. You need to make your character interesting. Your character are as important as your story. So if you have weak character, you will have a weak movie or a weak story as well. So that's one thing out of the way. Um, My first true issue that remained: plot convenience. The pipe on which Ethan was restrained on wasn't going up to the ceiling, letting him escape. So that was early in the movie with the torture stuff. It was just hopping, 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 and it just arrived on top of the pipe, so it was free. I was like, bruh, you really want me to suspend disbelief that much? So that was a really rough start for me. It's followed by people can't aim, just like what you said, DC. Plot armor in the underwater sequence. Ethan staying that long is too much for my suspension of disbelief. So I did look around on the internet. Like the average person can hold their breath underwater from 1 to 2 minutes, and they mentioned 3 minutes in the movie. So I was like, okay, I will suspend disbelief because this movie has super spy people, and I'm sure in real life, if you're really trained, maybe you can push the 2 minutes to 3 minutes. That's really tough. So I was like, okay, 3 minutes, maybe it's believable. But here's the thing: it felt like more than 3 minutes. And on top of that, he got knocked out. And then the girl went under the water to rescue him. And then she saved him and she brought him back to life. But here's the thing: when you are underwater like that and you cannot breathe and stuff, you have a brain damage because there's no oxygen going to your brain for a certain period of time. And this can really damage you and mess you up. Now, granted, the movie made Ethan somewhat of a clot after he was brought back to life. Like, wasn't driving as well as he usually does, and he wasn't walking the same way he does usually. He seemingly was injured. So I will grant this to them. But here's the thing: brain damage is just it's more than just like, oh yeah, your mobility is not that great. Your brain is messed up. When you get brain damage, you're lucky if you restore the damage that was done to your brain. And it's everything that's affected, not only the movement, mobility, like your way of thinking. Some people with brain damage, they cannot speak anymore. They cannot think anymore. or they think another way.
Mhm.
There's a bunch of issues you can develop.
I mean,
And
I don't think it was fully like diving into that though, was it? Like, did it fully say he got brain damage or?
well, he should he should have gotten brain damage.
I
With
mean,
that
people can
long
hold their breath for a
underwater.
crazy amount of time. Like the water record is something like 10 minutes, and since this character is like overpowered as we know, I mean, it's not too unrealistic to think that he had to train in to like hold his breath for a super long period of time and the
But
lung strength.
trust me, the guy that did 10 minutes, first of all, he's lucky, and he probably trained his entire life to make that record. And secondly, for sure, I don't know the backstory of the guy, so maybe I'm wrong on that, but I'm 90% sure that the guy that held his breath that long underwater, he probably has a messed up brain because of that. Because even if you can hold your breath that long, it's not good. It can really damage you. It's very dangerous. So, like, yes, they are highly trained. Okay, but they really pushed it a bit too far for me. And like, yeah, they like it should have been like more messed up than this. But that's just me, um, nitpicking stuff and picking apart stuff. Later in the movie, people cannot aim again. I can't remember where that was, but if I mark it down, that means at some point I'm like, okay, these people cannot aim. Um, so yeah, now there's a lot of things I actually like. The stunts were really good as usual, and Jeremy Renner character was great. Again, it was a great supporting character. Uh, Flipping side to protect his friends was very believable, and the fact that Luther didn't really trust him was cool because you're like, okay, Luther is really that really good friend to Ethan, and he only wants what's best. And yeah, the IMF people are really cool. Um, the action very entertaining. I really like the girl that's in the movie. The fact that you don't really know on which side she's on, I really enjoyed it. The fight choreography was really cool. The entire scene at the opera early in the movie when Ethan basically saves the president was amazing. I really like that entire sequence. That first mission was really cool and really smart. Um, the sidekick, I forgot his name, but the sidekick, Benji, it was great. I really liked that a lot. All of the car stuff. Also liked a lot the politic behind the spy lives and the spy mission. It felt very grounded and realistic, even if it's sci-fi. I think that part is well done. They were really smart. The story itself was really good. Like people going after Ethan because they think he's a rogue agent or something when he was right the entire time. I really like that. And as I said earlier, the CIA boss used to be an issue for me until the end when we realized, oh, the guy has actual growth. Um, yeah, I think that was a very, very enjoyable movie for me. Um, I think we can move to the great except if guys would like to add more to this.
Yeah, not for me.
Yeah, same. Not for me.
Okay, what would be your score out of 10, starting with Cole?
It'd be like a 7 or 7.5, I guess.
Okay, my score would be 8.5, just like Ghost Protocol, but I do think it's slightly better than Ghost Protocol. I really enjoyed it a lot. I was really invested, and anytime I think I will rewatch it. What about you, DC? What would be your grade out of 10?
Hmm. Probably a 10.
Oh, very cool. I like that. That's nice. That's your favorite, right?
No, no. My
Oh, your
favorite.
favorite is Fallout.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's it for Rogue Nation. So as I am marking down timestamp and as I am searching for my notes, who wants to start on Fallout? Who wants to start on Fallout?
Uh, I mean, again, since I have less to say, I'll just say it again. And you know, I mean, I guess I'll start again. Yeah, I won't really say much about the story, but yeah, I mean, the story was okay. Yeah, um, yeah, I mean, with the stunt work and everything, that was once again really good, and with some excellent stunts and excellent set pieces, of course, just like the previous ones. And I would say the cinematography was an improvement from in this compared to some others in the franchise. I think that was done really well, and I think half of the acting was great. The other half was a little rusty. I do think it could have been done better, but I do think Rebecca Ferguson was fantastic in this film. Uh, and again, Simon Pegg was so great, and Alec Baldwin. But yeah, I think some of the hand-to-hand combat was pretty good for the most part. There were some points where I think it could have been done better, but I was surprised with how well done it was, though. And yeah, some of the new characters like I believe August Walker or whatnot. I wasn't the biggest fan of, but yeah, I think they could have been done better or like cast somebody else maybe. But yeah, and I'd say the pace and I wasn't the biggest fan of, and I do think it could have been written and better and edited better, uh, and also shot better at certain points. But yeah, for the most part, I think this had pretty much everything that you would want from a Mission Impossible film, and it was done very well. A very good film, possibly even a great film. I don't really understand the hype with it though, of why people think it's so like amazing or like one of the best action films ever. I don't understand that. I think people are definitely. I mean, at least in my opinion, uh, I've seen a lot of action films, and I mean, this is great for a Mission Impossible film. It's possibly like the best, but I mean, the Mission Impossible series never been one too high for me. So I mean, it's great for the franchise, but I just think there's definitely a lot of better ones, and there's definitely areas for improvement. But that's it. Uh, I'll let you guys talk now.
All right.
Okay, I will let you start, DC.
All right. So I Fallout is my favorite. Have not seen Dead Reckoning yet, so as of right now, Fallout should be my favorite. But yeah, I enjoy Fallout because of the fact that it's not just because of the action, but the story is incredible, and it actually is very gives you a lot of tension. Like like Ethan fails a mission and two nuclear bombs are on the loose and are in the hands of dangerous people. So that's why I enjoy it. I enjoy it. And yeah, I do agree, and I do believe some of the action and the stunt works are fantastic in the movie. The Halo jump sequence is incredible. I even enjoyed the scene afterwards. They're in the bathroom and they're fighting that guy. I thought it was an incredible fight scene. And then you see them blending in at the party, which I thought was a very good scene, and I enjoyed it. And then you had the exchange scene, which I enjoyed a lot. Um, but yeah, but the main thing I enjoyed is how it has the plot twist. Like at first, you think that this John Lark guy is the bad guy, the main villain of the movie, before it turns out August Walker is generally the main villain, which I enjoyed that reveal a lot and that twist because you don't see it coming. You just think, oh, he's gonna be like you think Walker's character is essentially like a neutral, like a good or bad sort of character. But then later he becomes full on bad, and I enjoyed that. I also enjoyed how because even though because I think Fall is also the most unique because it's actually the first sequel towards Rogue Nation. So I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed how there's actually a lot of callbacks to Rogue Nation, and technically some main villains from Rogue Nation are the main villains for Fallout. So yeah, I do enjoy that. It kind of gave the franchise its first the first connection. So yeah, that's something I did enjoy. Mm. I don't really have any negatives with Fallout at all. And I also have to say I enjoy that the scenes where Ethan's just running and he's trying to get to Lark and he has that funny line where he's like, I'm jumping out a window. I thought that entire running sequence was great.
I agree with you. That was one of the most memorable parts of the movie. That was amazing. I really liked it as well. So, anything else? These
uh Not for me.
okay. As a side note, this is a John Wick 4 case where, despite my issues, that was my guilty pleasure and my favorite in terms of enjoyment and entertainment. Uh, yes, script wise, it's a bit weaker, but the movie was hella entertaining and enjoyable. I see myself rewatching anytime, despite its issues. Now, I got a bunch of issues, like a lot. Number one, them leaving the suitcase behind was convenient for the villain to just run away with it. Can't aim again. Plot convenience. A cop just happening to be at the right place, right moment. Can't aim. Similar to the train. Ethan was holding to the copter for way too long. It was not really believable at all. Plot armor on both character, Henry Cavill, because I can't remember the name of the character, and Ethan. They kept hitting everything they could hit as both copter crashed and fell into the ravine. I was like, bruh, it's all about spectacle, but these two should have died on the spot. They really want me to suspend disbelief way too much. I was rolling my eyes. I was like, bruh, why? Why? Um, so yeah, these are my issues. Um, I thought that was still a very good movie where most of the movie, Ethan and the others are basically losing the fight. They fail at every corner they could fail, and that feels very different because in the other Mission Impossible, yes, sometimes they have setbacks, sometimes they lose, sometimes they have defeat, but at every corner it's like no, it's not the way the others were, it's like usually they have one setback or they have one failure here and there, and then they win the rest and they win the war, but here it just feels like Ethan and the others are always so far behind, and they keep getting it, and they stand back up and they come back. That's really cool. And action wise, that was the movie that had the most action, and that's very good because that was the longest movie in the franchise. When I had seen the runtime at first, I was like, "Oh my, this movie will have pacing issue." But after watching it, I was like, "Oh, I was wrong. I judged the movie just because it was longer than the others." It actually had really good pacing. The action was cool, um, and they found a way to make the villain from Rogue Nation better. I didn't mention much about the villain in Rogue Nation. Um, I thought he was decent. He wasn't the best. He wasn't the worst. I enjoyed him in Rogue Nation, but here, man, I liked that villain a lot more. I also liked a lot um, the politics behind the IMF, the CIA, and how the girl, I can't remember her name, but the character played by Angela Bassett, she's like sending Henry Cavill on that mission. That's very enjoyable. Um, the fight in the bathroom was amazing. That was one of the best part of the movie, I think. Alongside with the race where Ethan is jumping from rooftop to rooftop, and he's like, "I'm jumping a window," and everyone is like looking at Ethan. They're like, "Is he crazy or something?" Very enjoyable. The humor was on point, and at many places they did speak French in the movie, and that was good French. Um, so yeah, the entire mission to capture the villain was really cool, and the fact that Ethan was still playing the long game and like was able to save the cops and to unleash the prisoner despite the criminals and terrorists rule to kill everyone that would be witness to the mission. That was really cool, and Ethan was a very believable double agent. The plot twist that the girl was working with the CIA was also really good. The character from Rogue Nation being back was really good again. Um, and now that I mentioned twice Rogue Nation in a row, um, I forgot to speak about the MI6 guy in Rogue Nation. I liked the MI6 guy in Rogue Nation. And here it felt like the person that was filling that kind of role was Angela Bassett character in Fallout. As of Henry Cavill, he had so much um, charisma. And he, from the get go, I was like, he will be a great villain because he's really like the opposite of Ethan. He's not cautious. He's taking so much risk, and he doesn't care about anybody. He just wants to unalive people because that's just a basically a hire, a guy that just unalive people for the living, So yeah, this movie, the action was on point. The stunt, I will praise them. Like the chase scene were also great. The cops going after Ethan was really cool. Um, so yeah, the very end. Even if I'm not the biggest fan of both copter crashing and everyone surviving, that was a cool sequence. Um, I don't have much more to say. I said pretty much everything about it. So I guess we can move to the grade out of 10, starting with Cole. Cole? I guess we'll start with DC. What's your grade out of 10?
A 10.
Okay. As of me, it's a 7.5 out of 10, making this the second worst movie in the franchise. But as I said earlier, it's my guilty pleasure. It's the movie I enjoyed the most, even if that's one of the weakest. I really liked it. I was entertained. So, what about you, Cole? What would be your grade out of 10? So, Cole died. Rest in peace, my friend. Probably Henry Cavill that had a job. Oh, let me guess. That's his neighbor.
Yeah.
That's the best guess. Um, so, hi, Parker. How are you, Parker?
I'm sorry, I
Oh,
was
he's
AFK. My bad.
back. How are you, bro?
Yeah, sorry, I was just grabbing a drink. Sorry. So the rating, I guess,
Yeah.
8 out of 10, I guess.
Oh, you liked it more than me. That's very interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Again, it's very good to great action film, and for a Mission Impossible film, probably the best in the franchise, if not like the second best. I still don't think it's like just that like amazing or anything, but very generous 8 out of 10 though, because it is really well done compared to others, I think.
Yeah. Um, so as of next week, we cover Dead Reckoning. I know money wise, it's not on the best place for you, DC. So maybe if you could try
I
to
did see
find
it.
maybe on websites some pirates or some people that recorded it in theater, maybe you could find the movie somewhere on the internet. Worst case scenario, we can return. We will still cover it next week, but once you have seen it, we can talk about it again. Um, so yeah, Parker, are you with us right now?
It's good.
How
Hello?
are you, man?
Lit. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Welcome to the stream. So, you have seen everything Star Wars, did you?
Uh, for better or for worse, yeah.
Okay. Um, I suggest we start with Solo. That was a bad movie.
Yeah, that
That's
was
why I
bad.
want to start with that
Good
one.
lord, this was just pointless. The movie. Now, I have to say, this was actually one of the most expensive films ever made, and the reason why is because they had to do shitloads of reshoots for it, like spend like double its budget. So this is like 275 million on this
That's
film, and
hilarious.
yeah, and it
What
made like
did, did,
three
did, they, did
hundred
they
million
just
in the
fuck it
year.
up that bad at first?
Oh yeah, and this is by Ron Howard.
I don't want to see the original version of the
Yep,
movie.
and this is by Ron Howard, but yeah, this is This is fucked. I don't think it's
Supposedly the cinematographer for Solo was also the same one who did Arrival. Supposedly, I don't see it.
What?
There's no there's no way. Apparently, it's the
No.
same person.
You have seen Arrival, right?
I have. It's good.
That's one of my all-time favorite movies. It's like I on this podcast we covered already over like 120 something movies, and this one is on my top 5.
Wow.
And you're telling me that person was involved with this shit?
yeah, he did the cinematography for that, and I mean, in fairness,
What happened?
all right. The
I mean, if the
visual
director
aspect-
sucks, then the
yeah,
cinematography
yeah,
is
exactly.
probably gonna
You know,
suck.
like
yeah.
exactly. Like
Yeah,
you know,
if you
people
don't
with
get
Sam
direction,
Mendes.
it's like, all right, I'm just gonna shoot at pitch black,
Yeah, that, or you know, you
and
could
then we're
be
gonna
like,
raise up the ISO in post, and it's gonna look awful.
I mean, yeah, that, or you know, if you're like somebody like Roger Deakins, and you know you can who gets hired by a shit director like Sam Mendes, and you have to carry him. You know, sometimes it happens. Sometimes a cinematographer is so amazing that he carries the mediocre directing. You know, films like 1917. So, but anyhow, yeah, this in fairness, though, the cinematography is not one of the worst points about this film, though. It's actually one of the best things that the cinematography, at least in my opinion. Now, not to say it's like amazing or anything, but and that's also more has to do with the fact that I mean, all these Star Wars films and shows and everything, the newer ones will have the budget and production and lighting to make it at least look visually competent at minimum. So because and kind of pretty. So it doesn't take too much, as a cinematographer, but still it was not one of the worst points about it. It was like one of the better points. And there was some cool shots and like especially in the opening with like the battlefield, I guess with like the smoke. But so yeah, I don't blame him for this. And I mean luckily the original, score the composer guy, didn't do the cider. Although that's probably because he's dead now. So
No, he's not dead.
yeah, the guy who did
Yeah.
the composure for Arrival, he died.
Oh, Oh, I thought you were talking about John Williams. I was like, no, he's
Oh
old, but he's
no,
not
no,
dead
no.
yet.
I mean, he will be soon, but no. I mean, I believe also the composer of that film did Jonah Jonason. He did one. He directed a single film before he died, and it's actually pretty great. So maybe we'll watch it. Although it's honestly kind of like an audio book, though. So maybe, but we'll see. Anyhow, though, yeah, this film was just kind of a waste of time. Now, it isn't complete garbage or anything. There's good aspects, I think, and there's also aspects that I think people are a little too harsh on. Like, obviously, the fucking actors trying to like play those old characters, and were cast mainly for like looking similar instead of their acting chops. Obviously, they're not going to be the best or have like charisma, but in fairness, I don't think they did as bad of a job as people said.
I mean, well, a lot of the problem is that Han Solo and Lando Calrissian are two of the most like iconic characters in like any medium ever, and have very distinctive personalities. But what I will say is, I thought Aiden, whatever his name is, I thought he did fine. But I thought Donald Glover killed it. I thought he did really good. In my opinion,
I was a little mixed on Donald Glover, honestly, but I think he did some of the basics right that anybody could do, just like trying to mimic it. But for the most part, I didn't think it was like anything too special. But yeah, and the other guy, I think, again, I'm not saying he was like very charismatic or anything, but at the same time, you can't really mimic that charisma of the original Han Solo character, because, as you said, it's very distinct, and so a younger version of him, so you can excuse it. He did fine the best he could, so I don't blame him, even if people want to blame him for some reason and say, he was just cast for his looks, which was true though. But editing was shit. Direction was shit. There was just a lot of visual effects were not really very good. Some of the acting was pretty shit as well outside of that. I guess some of the robots
droid
were
was very
cool.
annoying. I hated the droid so
much.
Yeah,
the droid was annoying, but the designs and stuff were kind of cool. The droids and stuff, I guess. It's just a film we didn't need to see this type of shit. It's so pointless. We didn't need to see it, and we could already picture like everything they talked about that they try to mimic, like the fucking poker game and stuff. Like, we can think about it in our heads easily from those lines from the original show. We didn't need this. Like, it's just such a pointless film, and it does almost nothing. And it's I'm so confused by it. Oh Lord, I don't get it.
I really struggle why like this film exists, because it's like it's not really anything interesting going on like plot wise. Like, it could have been like, I guess they could have tried doing like a space western kind of thing, but
that would have been cool. But I don't know.
But it's like, it was like I feel like it didn't know what type of film it wanted to be.
Yeah, no. And here's the thing: if they made like a TV show that was just like an anthology Star Wars show where it's like hour-long episodes, sort of like Black Mirror, and they lowered the cost a little bit of stuff like Rogue One and Solo, and it was like each episode just something like this, and it would be a lot better. But as like a 2.5 hour film like this, like, what's the fucking point? And there really isn't. And also, Emilia Clarke was pretty shit in it. It's just not a very there's not really much to say. It's just a very pointless, forgettable.
Seeing her really took me out of the movie, because I don't know, like, whenever I see her face, I just always think of Daenerys from that show. Yes, thank you. I don't know
we'll
why
watch it eventually, maybe. But yeah.
but it's like it's I don't know. For me, it's always weird seeing like a high-profile actress like that in another very large like type of IP.
Yeah, I wouldn't really say high-profile, but
she's a shit actress.
I wouldn't say she's a shit actress. But she is shit in films, definitely, and she's good in other films and shows. Just depends, but she definitely isn't like an amazing actress, but she can be good, and then she can be shit. It depends.
the only performance I thought was decent was when she was on Genesis. I think which Terminator she
Yeah,
was in.
Terminator Genesis. I mean,
Yeah,
I think she's basically just like another Natalie Portman. It really just depends on the film. If the film's good, she's usually good in it, or if the show's good. If it isn't, then yeah, she usually sucks ass because she can't hold herself. Can't hold her own really. Just walked in a secret invasions, and she was good at points and shit at other points. So yeah, I think that kind of
Yeah.
just sums up her acting. So yeah, I wouldn't say she's shit, but definitely not amazing either. Just kind of
I don't think she
decent.
fits in Star Wars
Oh,
either. Like
definitely
it's
not.
just yeah.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, and I don't even remember the climax of this film. It's just forgettable. The last thing I just remember is that shit with Emilia Clarke and then the robot dying and just fucking whatever. And then there's that climax with the ship or whatever. I don't know. It's all forgettable to me. I've forgotten it by now. It's just whatever. I
The
don't
only
know.
thing
Anything else you want to
I
say?
remember is like the really bad Darth Maul hologram that looked like they ripped it straight from like the Clone Wars animated TV show. Like that looked fucking awful. And that's the only thing I remember about the ending. Like it's like oh I don't it just looked bad.
to answer you, Parker, when you asked why was that movie made, money. It's Disney. They wanted money.
Well, I know that, but I
Did
mean,
this movie flopped? So not only they failed at making money, but they made a bad movie. Um, so I got so many issues. Um, Plot armor on Han Solo when he fought Chewbacca. People can't aim. People can't aim. The humor doesn't land. Plot convenience. Han Solo just happening to know Wookiee language. It's like, ow, why? I understand the movie because he's known like um, Chewbacca for a long time in the movies, but
Yeah.
it's like the first encounter with a Wookiee. It's like, bruh,
Yeah, I mean, at
like
least in Guardians they showed it properly, but in this, no. It's just like, and with the character he is, there's no reason how he should have like learned it randomly like that without explaining. It's
yeah.
just stupid. And again, this like even just the first like fucking minute of this film, I was tapping out. Like, really, that's how Han Solo got his fucking name. Are you serious? Some guys just like, okay, let's call you Han Solo in like the first minute. Are you fucking? That's how he got his fucking name. Are you that you're making a film about Han Solo's backstory, and that's what you can think of?
The Robo dialogue gets on my nerve because it feels like a writer insert. That's like the woman robot that becomes the Millennium Falcon later on. Uh, she was like, "They are using you," and I'm like, "Bruh, what am I watching? I lost brain cell."
I know.
Um,
Yeah, I know. So the fucking robot. I'm not faulting the actress, voicing it. Also, amazing actress, does a lot of
the writing is
artsy
shit.
indie films, but the script for her that she was given garbage. Like, because here's the thing. Like, putting aside what you think about the robot character. The way they had the script they gave her and had her speak, it didn't sound like a fucking proper drone. It didn't. Like, they didn't
Yeah.
do it properly.
Um, Robot don't have feelings, but yet she does because she can. Now it's sci-fi, I know. Sometime I can get behind that sci-fi aspect of lore and stuff if it's well written by smart people, but here it just doesn't feel right. It's like she involved because she involved. She's the only robot in the universe that has feeling, and because she does. The lightning in the caverns was terrible. I could not see shit. Here again, people can't aim. They try to be funny, but it doesn't land. Pacing, They can't aim. So yeah, this movie was a definition of what Disney did wrong. Like this movie
Mhm.
is as bad as any of the
You
sequels.
mean what Disney did right? They've been killing it lately. What are you talking about? And by that, I mean literally killing the franchise. They're doing a great job.
It's on the
Yeah,
ground, and they take the lightsaber and they cut it in pieces because it's not enough.
yeah,
Yeah, basically the scene in the Empire Strikes Back of cutting open that creature and shoving Luke into it. That's basically what they did with this franchise. They cut
yeah.
it open and then shoved like some TNT in it and then closed it back up and it exploded.
So, I think I point out enough issues. Guys, is there any other issues I may have forgot?
I don't know. I mean, Marvel didn't see this, did he?
No,
I
I
don't
did
think
not.
so. Yeah,
Yeah.
the only
Anything else you
movie
want to
I'd
say,
seen
Parker?
was
Um,
Rogue One.
fucking what's his name was in the movie? I don't remember his name.
Oh, Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, that guy. So that pretty much tells you like about this movie.
Yeah,
Um,
I completely forgot like him and Dandy Newton were in this because I didn't care.
I will say if there I did actually kind of like the Kessel Run and the train heist, and those are the only scenes that I enjoyed from the movie.
I agree, and I will bring a fun fact. So, I was occupied when I first started watching Rogue One, and I took a break at the 25-minute mark. And that's funny because two tabs side by side. One of the tab was Rogue One, and the other one was Solo. So later on, I was like, "Oh, I will keep watching from where I was on Rogue One." But I clicked on the Han Solo tab, and I didn't realize. So I clicked to 25-minute mark because this is where I left off. And I'm like, what's going on? There's a train, a train ice. What's going on? And it took me half an hour to realize, oh, that's Han Solo, and it's because the tone felt so different, and it's because of the annoying robot. I was like, oh, I heard stuff about the annoying robot in Solo, so I realized I was on the wrong tab. So I was like, "Oh, okay, I see." So I went back to Rogue One after that, and I rewatched Solo, like the parts I didn't had seen, like the first 25 minutes, and
Yeah.
after the hour mark, I was like, "My, this was bad. This was bad." Um, so yeah,
What you mean, masterful? On how not to make a Star Wars film, but I mean, look, I'll say this. It's a pointless, bad movie, but I used to think it was just kind of below average, mediocre, pointless, but not terrible, but not like bad. But rewatching it, no, it is just bad because it's like sloppily made and just all that stuff. It's not even like really well made. It's or acted at all. It's just it's definitely bad. But I would say it does have some good enjoyable moments, and it's not like completely horrendous to watch. I will say that it's not Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker level
yeah.
or Attack of the Clones.
I think it was like on par with Force Awakens,
Yeah, that's
um,
I would say that
and
maybe a
that
little
was
worse,
bad.
but I don't know.
It's not a praise. That was a bad movie.
Yeah, no, it's not a praise, but no, that is accurate. It's about on par with The Force Awakens. I would say it's probably worse than The Force Awakens. So
I actually liked
yeah.
it more than Force Awakens.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're both just like unoriginal, pointless films that
There are
are
two
not
bad
well made.
movies.
Yeah, they're like yeah, it's like what you do when you don't have any ideas, which is Kathleen Kennedy. So
Yeah, but
uh,
are you telling me you didn't like the CGI Darth Maul model rip from Clone Wars?
oh, that
Are you
was
telling me you didn't
amazing.
love that?
It was
Hey,
incredible.
cameos, guys! Stop bashing the show. We got Darmo. It's a good movie.
Yeah, we had a shitty poker scene. It's fantastic.
Oh my, this movie is so bad. Like just like what Parker said, like the best part of it is like the train iced and people like Chewbacca beating people down.
And
Yeah,
I thought the Kessel Run was well done for the most part.
yeah. Again, all that stuff was good. The Chewbacca stuff, the train sequence, and yeah, the Castle
The fucking
Run.
Lovecraft thing that showed up during the Kessel Run caught me by surprise, and I'd like to see more of that in Star Wars. Honestly,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I
All
fucking
that
love
stuff was well
Lovecraft.
done. I guess. I mean, I've seen it definitely done better. That stuff,
Yeah,
even though I have a lot of issues with the film and I wouldn't consider it to be good, I think the Lone Ranger has some amazing set pieces and stuff, and I think that they did like the train stuff or like the Chewbacca stuff in a better way. You know, yeah, whatever. It's at least it's not like the fucking Last Jedi. I guess we can move on to ratings unless you have anything
Yeah,
else you want to say, Parker.
yeah.
nope,
We can
I'm
move on
done.
to
Okay.
ratings.
Yeah, I guess I'll give this like a 3 to 3.5 around that.
What about you, Parker?
I'll give it a 4 out of 10. It's pretty shit.
I'm the most generous. I feel like I'm too good with this movie. 4.5.
Yeah. A 4 to 4.5 is what I had it at originally, but I rewatched it and I'm like, this deserves to be in the threes. It's
You're
like
brave, bro.
I'm sorry. It's like I think you guys aren't being as a little bit more harsh with it, just because it's so pointless that it's a little bit safe to an extent. So there's less variables that you can fuck up, but it's still completely. But in my opinion, that's still just as bad.
Yeah. That summarizes very well how bad this movie is. So you didn't miss much, DC. Um,
Yeah.
so now I suggest we move on to Rogue One. This time around, I do think Rogue One is actually a good movie, and maybe you will clip me to laugh at me eventually, but I think Rogue One is hands down my favorite Star Wars movie.
Oh well,
Uh,
no. I mean,
uh,
it's definitely, in my opinion, a
wait,
good
ever
film.
or
Ever,
is there like an
Wow,
ellipsis that you're gonna say by Disney?
ever.
wow. I mean, I think
You're
it's.
wrong.
I
You're
mean,
wrong.
listen. I think it's the best one by Disney
It's
out of the
it's
new
it's
ones.
it's easily the best one by Disney. It's not even close.
Yes, but the
Not
best
even
one
close.
ever. I wouldn't say so.
I had near non issues. That movie was amazing,
Yeah,
and
I mean, it
and
was very good.
I like Revenge of the Sith, Empire, and A New Hope. I thought these were really good movies, but I just think Rogue One is slightly better than these. Um, so let's talk about Rogue One, I guess.
Brave.
Um, I just need to find my notes. Whoever wants to start can start. Maybe DC because
Yeah, I didn't finish the entire thing. I only got like halfway through. But yeah, as for what I've seen, yeah. I thought the movie, what I've seen of it was average. It wasn't like incredible. Um, I think the thing I did not like was it was so slow. The pacing was slow. Like it took forever and it generally felt like hours and hours in um Jin, I don't know what to think of her. She wasn't like the worst character I've seen in a movie. Certainly not the year.
Ray is, so
Yeah.
that's fine. That's a fair point.
Yeah. But I mean, I didn't think she was incredible either. I do like the backstory. Some of the characters, I just didn't like the android guy. Just, oh my god, he's dumb, dumbest character in the film, and I didn't like his character. Um, and I think all of the other characters, apart from the droid, were just, um, what's the term? Um, uninteresting and lame. like they had nothing in with them that made them feel like they were exciting. Yeah. So the movie as a whole, I would just give it a 5 out of 10. It's not like one of my. I didn't enjoy it that much. So
wait, how much of it did you watch?
like
Ah,
wait through like an hour. Like I got through like
okay.
1 hour.
Okay,
Are you gonna like
so
finish
that
it?
explains because the second half is so much better.
I
Like,
agree with you,
it's
Parker.
so good.
Oh
Yeah.
The best part of it is in the back
the
half.
first two acts are really slow, but the third act is fucking like
Yeah.
so good. Like
oh
it raises the whole film.
Exactly. And I'll
If that
just
wasn't for the ending, man, I don't think I would have liked that movie that much.
yeah, no, the ending is just incredible, and yeah, this film is very good. Definitely the best one Disney has ever made. Like, also the lead Felicity Jones. Now, it wouldn't have happened because she's too old now. She's like 39 or something. But it's like she was like a better version of what they tried doing with Ray. It's like she would if they put her in that role, it would have been so much fucking better. Holy shit!
I
But
agree.
yeah, the
The
entire
director
cast.
is better. The actress is better.
Yeah,
Everything is
exactly.
better.
And yeah, here's the thing: there are a lot of people who were disappointed by this film when it came out and don't really like it. And the main reason why is because they all already knew the fate of everybody in this movie. They already knew what was going to happen. So because of that, they said I didn't really care for them. And for me though, I would say like, okay, sure, we already knew what was going to happen, but we didn't know how it was going to exactly like play out though, or there were still like some things that could have happened with like certain characters to survive, but also the way they did it though made me still care in my opinion, because like it's fine that you already knew what was going to happen because of the prior stuff, but the way with the acting, all the actors and the script and story and everything, they did it amazingly. Where I mean, I still cared, like even if I knew what was going to happen, because like the cast in this was fantastic. Like look again, there's Felicity Jones, Diego Luna, who you'll see as the lead in that Andor show next week. Playing that character, Donnie Yen, Mads
My boy
Mikkelsen.
Donnie Yen. Sorry, carry
Yep,
on.
yep. He was the one blind guy in
I
John Wick
love him.
4.
I love him.
Oh yeah,
Carry
yeah. You
on.
remember him in John Wick 4? Multi.
No,
Yeah.
I've watched Ip Man. I've watched all of them.
Oh yeah, that too. And then yeah, Mads Mikkelsen, legend. Forrest Whitaker, Riz Ahmed, just absolutely stacked cast. Even more than I'm like not mentioning. So the cast and along with the writing and the story beats made it amazing. And then also you take into account though, like this isn't a film where you're supposed to like super connect with the characters. It's one of those films where it's sort of like Dunkirk, where it gives you the basics, and then it's mainly like just a bunch of characters trying to survive, basically, sort of like that World War II movie Dunkirk that Nolan made. That I think he did very well with that, and I think Rogue One did too, and it did like the very minor things perfectly. And again, the way scenes played out was very suspenseful and done very well, especially one near the beginning with just that guy shooting the one dude with the broken arm. It's like just fucking incredible, I think. And the cinematography and all that stuff, the visuals, the directing, probably like the best in a Star Wars, the newer Star Wars film, I would say, out of all the ones they made. And the editing too, and just the shot transition, just very well made film. I really don't understand why some people don't like this film very much. I think this is easily the best they ever made. Now, I don't think it's perfect or anything. I do have some gripes with it. Like, I don't think, like, yeah, I definitely don't think it's like amazing, but I think it did its job and it is good. I think it's a good movie. I don't understand people trying to, write it off. And yeah, the director of this is also coming out with a film this year called The Creator, which looks really good. We'll watch that. But yeah, he also did the 2014 Godzilla, which I think is also like the best out of like the American Godzilla films that were made.
Oh, by far. By
Yeah.
far.
But anyway, so yeah, I guess you guys can go now more.
So I think it's funny that you mentioned Dunkirk because when I watched Rogue One, it actually reminded me of a different World War II movie, and that was Saving Private Ryan. Because because going into this film, you already know that all of these characters are going to die because they don't appear in any other Star Wars media. And part of that's because the film's getting made 40 years after uh, the trilogy that it's preceding came out, but also, that's just sort of how the story was going to go. But it reminded me of Saving Private Ryan. But I think Saving Private Ryan did the characters better. As much as I wanted to like the characters in Rogue One, I found them pretty bland, and there isn't really like any character development. Like even Jyn Erso, who's supposed to be like kind of like the protagonist, I guess, but
She
she doesn't
doesn't, bro.
really drive the story.
Yeah.
And there isn't really any character development that goes on with the characters until they
Hmm.
die.
Yeah,
Versus
I
like with
agree.
Saving Private Ryan, like I don't know, maybe it's because that's also like a 3.5 hour movie, but like I feel like the characters in Saving Private Ryan were a lot more fleshed out. And then when most of them died at the end, which was also like a foregone conclusion, like from the
Yeah,
beginning of the film,
they were a
but
bit
like
more
it
fleshed
hit
out and a
more
bit more
because
colorful.
like
Yeah.
they uh they had like character development, which is a shame because like the characters in Rogue One, they all look completely different. They all have completely different like skill sets and personalities and stuff. But I just wish like more time went into like developing the characters like before they died to make their deaths be more poignant.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, again, the reason why I was kind of didn't mind it as much though, because again, with how I think they did it, like I was okay with like not having as much like character development because I don't think it was the main focus of the film or anything. I think the main focus again was sort of like a Dunkirk type thing, or like sort of like a horror movie, just like the throw in aspect and seeing like who will survive. And while it is disappointing, we knew the fate of pretty much all them and like what would happen. Um, again, I still think it doesn't take away from like like how like different and colorful the characters were. I think like not like with like like diving deep into their stories and stuff, but just like just off of what we saw alone, was already really well done in that where we were still intrigued by them and entered and all that and cared about them in my opinion just because of like how different and unique they were and just pretty fascinating. So I think that made up for it for me.
Yeah, I will say I did like how it ended because it's not very often you see a film where all the main characters die at the end. And
That's true.
I really, I don't know, I find that type of plot very compelling, especially coming from like a Disney film, because normally in
That's
Disney
like
films
kids
everyone
friendly
lives and
usually.
everyone gets a happy ending, but that didn't happen in this, and I really liked that about it.
I agree with what you said. So, fun fact: with this movie, I only had three issues. Two are very similar. Number one, people can't aim. Congrats, right?
Yeah, you gotta,
Next
yeah,
up,
that's the Imperial Academy, bro. You gotta take it up with them.
so as long as you hit like 60% of your shot, you're hired, bro. You don't need to hit everything. Just hit
Yeah.
something, and we'll be glad.
Yep. Pretty much.
So, second issue, too many characters for me to remember them or to care about them. To be honest, outside of the lead and the other guy that was kind of willing to unalive himself to save her and to the cause itself, people were forgettable. I'm like, who the f is that? I know they are all like nameless people. Um, the big machine of war can't aim. This is by the end of the movie. They're just like shooting everywhere, and they don't hit everyone. I'm like, bruh. Fire them all. Hire competent shooters. Okay. There's still a bunch of things I liked. As I said, that was my favorite Star Wars movie ever. Um, the ambush, the action, that was all very entertaining. I also liked a lot the blind guy. That was actually my favorite character. The blind guy brought something
Donnie Yen,
new.
baby. What a
Yeah,
goat.
the blind guy was just amazing. You don't like the blind guy? Get out of this chat. Go hide yourself under a blanket or rug. Um, so the humor was funny. The father's speech about the Death Star weakness was great. You know what's funny about the sequel trilogy? They were really good at ruining past movies like Return of the Jedi or their own movie with The Last Jedi, you know? Um, Here, Disney did something smart. They justified why the Death Star was dumb. uh, you just go down the tunnel and you bomb it. That was made in design. So instead of ruining a past movie, they actually improved A New Hope, which is good. Do that more often, please, Disney. Don't ruin your own IP.
Well, yeah, I mean it's a lost cause. There's no saving what they did unless the only way they can save it is if they call the newest trilogy just like non-canon. That's the only way to save it.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
I will say good job on making the planet feel different from each other. I really like that. And Mandalorian also does that right. When they move around and they go from planet to planet and area to area, I really like that. The big war on the rainy planet was really cool. The father's uh, unalive was emotional. The girl's speech about rebellion being built on hope was amazing, and this is true. You need to hope to have that rebellion. The music, I liked it. Uh, all of the action piece, even if nobody can aim, that was so good. Because it's entertaining. All these lasers, pew pew, that's cool. I don't have much more to say. Um, do you want to add something, Parker or Cole or DC?
Uh, so a few things that I want to bring up because I didn't hear them brought up yet. Uh, the fucking Darth Vader corridor scene is absolutely iconic,
Oh
I
yeah.
agree.
and they all and it's like I forget what the story was. It was either they added that last minute or they were going to cut it and they didn't cut it last minute and left it in the film.
That was a
So
great
Yeah,
part.
I want more stuff like that in Star Wars, and
Me
sadly we're
too.
not getting it.
I wish, that scene, has so much potential if they had a competent writer and a competent director to do like a Darth Vader series where it's just him hunting down people. Like no story, just him hunting down people. Like with that
Parker.
horror like vibe,
Yes.
I think would
Parker.
work very well. There's a
Yeah,
whole
it
comic
would.
book series about
It
it.
was so horrifying, and yeah, they have done comic books with that stuff, and with him like hunting down people and slaughtering people, and also with certain
Parker.
characters in the comic books and novels. Like I forgot the names of them, but there was one who was like tried to turn Darth Vader like nice in the comics, and then he like slaughtered like a whole room of like injured soldiers, and then just like ran away. And there's this like other character, it's like bisexual who I
Guys,
remember kept like getting away. But yeah, I want more stuff like that. I
Yeah,
wish they would like adapt that stuff.
there was
these
one comic, I forget the name of it, but it was where they like a whole group of Jedi. I think it was like 12 Jedi lured him into a trap and almost killed him.
and they
And
all
that was
got
that
unalive.
was like the first time since like the Jedi Temple that he fought that many Jedi at once. And it was like if you get a chance to read that comic, read it because it's really
Yeah,
fucking good.
they've done some
And that would
great
be
comics.
perfect for an episode.
Yeah,
You know what?
it's sad how like the comics have done a better job than movies
Uh,
and everything.
Guys, both of you have such great ideas. but Disney doesn't give a shit. Disney
Yeah.
like Kylo Ren.
Yep.
Disney like Rey. So
Oh, of
forget about
course.
your Vader series.
Yeah,
You will
I
have
will
like
say.
20. You
Yeah.
will have a Rose spin-off before you will have a Darth
Oh,
Vader TV
fucking
show.
hell. Jesus. Just kill me now. Yeah, I will say the score as well, I think, was great. Like the guy who did the musical score, he's done a lot of insane ones. He's done, especially for like Marvel, DC, and other properties like this. Like he's done the ones for the new Spider-Man trilogy, all three of them. He's done it for Doctor Strange. He's done it for the Batman. So yeah, but yeah, he did a great job. And he also was the one who directed that Werewolf by Night thing. You know, but
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that wasn't bad. That
yeah,
wasn't
that
bad.
special horror thing the MCU did. Yeah, that was actually pretty solid. Yeah, but anyway, but yeah, I will say though, you mentioned this before, but yeah, the script writing, fucking hell, that's the biggest issue with this film and what drags it down for me the most. The script writing, all right. I didn't have an issue with the story and everything, and the lack of like fleshing out characters as much. What I had an issue with was the writers, just like the scripts they gave to each character were not good, and that dragged down the fucking film. And like let's just like all together look at their let's share my screen here. Let's all just together look at what they've done. All right, these are the screenwriters, I believe, above here. Yep. Let's look at now. This guy, I've checked him. This is his first thing he's ever done, so we won't check him. But yeah, a new writer right here. Now let's look at what these other writers have done, shall we?
What?
Pinocchio.
So
yeah.
this is what this guy has done.
What?
About a boy. Ants.
Bruh.
New
Yo, he
Moon,
did Ants.
What's
Nutty
that
Professor
shitty-
2, Golden
There's a number
Compass,
2.
right? So
You see-
this shit. Let's look at the other guy now.
Blame Disney, bro.
This is what this guy has done: a bunch of shit action movies, and
Born's not
films.
bad.
Born movies are good. I like the Born
Yeah,
trilogy.
whatever. And then let's look at the I mean, definitely not the writing though in them. And then let's look at the third one, After Earth.
Oh no.
I heard
After
only
Earth-
bad stuff about that one.
Yeah,
Oh, I've seen After Earth, and it's really not that bad.
I only heard bad
Mhm.
shit about it.
no, it's pretty
First one
fucking
that
bad.
says it's not that.
I watched it when I was younger, but I mean, I don't.
Yeah, that
really-
explains a lot. It's garbage, and it was just made to try to like elevate Will Smith's garbage son who can't act.
But I mean, I personally didn't think it was that bad.
I mean, it won Razzie for worst movie of the year. So, but anyway, yeah,
That's something, right?
Yeah,
You want
that's
something.
that's the past write-in history of all three of those guys. So no doubt a write-in sucks. And these are the writers on strike, by the way.
And they want me to be like, go for it, strike, go for it.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Anyway, anything else you guys want to say, Parker?
Yeah, I think Rogue One is the best way I could put it is I think it's a very well directed but not well written film.
Okay. Anything else?
The set pieces are incredible. I love I love how everything looks. It's perfect. I love Gareth Edwards when he does that stuff. It's just great. That's what I
Okay.
think.
The grade out of 10. DC has said 5, but you only have seen half of it, so maybe it will end on a 10 if you watch the other half. Cool. What about you? What would be your grade out of 10?
It would be around a 6 out of 10, which again seems low, but for me that means it's very good. 6 out of 10, and yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's above average.
Easily the best out of all of them. It's just dragged down by the script writing. I think the scripts are pretty poor.
What about you, Parker?
I'm giving it a 7. Very, very clearly the best Disney Star Wars film. Again, if they fleshed out the characters a little bit more, probably it'd be higher. But I mean, overall, I still think it's really good. It's pretty good regardless.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think they could have fleshed it out like a bit more, like the whole storyline. I think with like the main character, I think they could have added a lot more like to it with the dark elements of like her as a child and like witnessing that, and then like having like maybe her having like a certain mission she's trying to do on the side to like that she's been trying to like accomplish all her life, but then ends up being pointless in the end with like something that happens. And it's just there's many ideas they could have done, but do you think the script writers are talented enough to do that?
Nope.
Following their credit, not really, but I will say yes. As of me, it's a 9 out of 10. I really thought that was a really good movie. Um, as I said, my favorite Star Wars movie.
Yeah, okay. Remind Parker what you gave the first two. I know what the grades are, but remind him.
So I gave Empire and A New Hope 8.5. Both are 8.5. Um, and now it's a 9.
Yeah, well, this one is. So yeah.
Also gave Revenge 8.5. But
No, I thought
I
you gave it
liked
lower.
Revenge. No, Revenge was 8.5.
Okay, I thought you gave it a lower one because the Ewok stuff. But anyway, yeah.
On Revenge? Revenge
Oh,
of
wait,
the
sorry,
Sith?
sorry, no, sorry. I was remembering Return. Sorry, yeah, you mean Revenge of
Return
the
was
Sith.
lower. Return
Yeah,
was a
sorry, I
6.
was thinking of that one. Sorry, you meant Revenge of the Sith. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, okay. Anyway, I mean, you're wrong, but yeah, I'm just. I mean, like, I do think.
Kicked out. Kicked out.
God, I know I understand the complaints you had though with like the first two, but I do think you have to give it some leeway considering it was like in the 70s and they were like the first films ever made in that genre, pretty much of sci-fi films.
No mercy.
Okay. Anyway, I guess we move on to like Mandalorian season 1.
Boba Fett, because that was
Okay.
shit.
Okay, yeah,
Fuck
we'll get
Boba
that
Fett.
out of the
Not
way.
a good one.
Fuck it.
Yeah,
I don't
there's
think anyone has liked Boba Fett. Am I
No.
right on
Yeah.
that?
I
No.
most negative.
There's moments I like in it, but it's just a mediocre,
Can we
forgettable
just say,
show.
instead of being 7 episodes, it's 3 episodes, and that's the last 3? Can we say that?
Yeah, I wish. Like the last 3 episodes, I think were really well done, and that's because like 2 of them were barely about Boba Fett. So yeah, and then the climax, obviously, because they were spending all that time for it, and also because Robert Rodriguez directed it, who directs a lot of, has directed a lot of great films and action stuff, and also did Sin City. So yeah, he did a great job with that last episode. But
The
yeah.
first 4 episodes don't exist.
Yeah, they're like, look, I'm fine with what they attempted with this and leaning back from the action and like doing what they did, and also having the good visuals and stuff and world. But listen, I'm fine with doing what they did there. They just didn't do it well. It was just boring. It was lame. It was not done well even. And it's also stuff that we've seen many times before in other films and shows, like that exact type of stuff. And like that, and with fucking some tribe shit. It's just it's stuff we've seen before, and it was stupid. And so Boba Fett didn't act like Boba Fett in it, especially compared to Mandalorian. Also, it's like this show acts like we already kind of knew about Boba. Like again, we barely. Well, Boba Fett's like an iconic and loved character. It's like he was barely in the original thing. He had like 5 lines of dialogue in it. All right, it's like this is the time where you should like dive deeper into him as a person and stuff if you want to.
As you wish.
But, yeah, but they don't.
PTSD trauma
That's the line.
childhood.
Yeah, it's just they don't. And again, they did the fucking Halo TV shows thing where it's like every fucking second he has to take his helmet off. I'm like, you're overdoing it. Stop it. Good fucking lord. It's just so stupid. Again, it just wasn't well done. Even putting this aside how lame and boring kind of this is, it just wasn't well done for the most part in all these areas. Even like especially like the fucking motor scooter fucking chase thing was so stupid. It's not a good show, and I don't understand how anybody can defend it. Now there's cool moments in each episode, like bits and pieces here, but it's not it's just mediocre though. I would say at best for the overall. I don't like it. It's Mina Wen was great in it though. I'll give her credit there. And I
She
can't believe she's
carried
like
the
60 years old.
she carried the show on her shoulders like that was her baby, bro.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Like, hey Parker, like, can you believe she's like 60?
Wait, who?
Mina
The
Wen in it.
actress.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I saw that and I don't believe that.
She was on Agents of Shield.
I thought she was like 40.
In Agents of Shield, she was 40.
Yeah, she looks like fucking like 38. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that woman does not age.
Yeah.
I will say this as a premise of what I think about this awful show. It's like the people are like, let's make a 2 hour and a half movie about Boba Fett, but that's not Boba Fett. That's like a character study of someone we created. And then the studio is like, we need people to subscribe to Disney Plus. So your 2 hour and a half movie need to be a 5 hour TV show.
Yeah.
And the people working on it are like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's make him walking around like Lord of the Ring, and let's show like 20 times in the show the same flashbacks because we don't know how to create good flashbacks. Oh yeah, and flashbacks? What's that? Let's say episode 4, which is like the middle of your show. Let's add more context. Guys, this is not really how flashbacks work. This it's like they wanted to tell an origin story within an origin story with episode 4, and I'm like, bruh, if the show started with episode 4, the show would have been still shit, but it would have been better because we would have gotten more action back to back. Like episode 4, they just added stuff for the sake of it because they were like, we need to feel like 7 episodes. And I feel this is also why we get 3 episodes in the end with Mendo. It's because they're like, we don't know what to do with Boba, so let's just bring the
but Soul's just waiting for that fucking climax fight. That's the whole fucking show. And also, I thought they would have some like shit though, where where it's like a bunch of tribe people come out in the last episode to help them. Like, oh, Boba. Apparently not, but got some character deaths there in like fucking episode like 5 or 6 or wherever it was. Fucking hell. But yeah, I mean, it's just whatever. And then also, I didn't expect. I don't think it was really the right decision to bring back like fucking Baby Yoda that quickly after season 2 of Mandalorian. But whatever. Whatever. Yeah, it's just like they ran out of things to do, so they just turned it into Mandalorian season 2.5. Later on. What I will say is also Bryce Dallas Howard directed like the 5th episode in this, I believe, and yeah, did a great job. I think she's directed like a few episodes of Mandalorian before as well, and they're considered like some of the best. So yeah, I think she's been doing a great job with the direction. So I hope she gets more stuff to do in the future with that. Definitely better than her fucking acting in Jurassic World. So.
So, the lightning was godly awful. Most of the nighttime stuff, you can't see shit. Maybe they were sleeping on set, so that's why we could not see shit on nighttime. And that's funny because in my side note, I'm like, only the last 3 episodes were watchable, but it doesn't redeem the show terrible pacing, which is hilarious. People can't aim like they are even worse than in the movies. Like every week, there's some kind of shootout, and like people just don't die because they can't aim. It's like, bruh, please, flashback end, series end. I swear, before Mendo came in, like right after episode 4, I was like, will I really finish the season? I was like, I want to die. I don't want to finish the shit. I really considered dropping out. I was like, bruh, I will just say as an excuse to call that I didn't have time. But I was brave enough to like look at episode 5 and I was like, oh, at last, something watchable. It just took freaking 5 episodes to get to it. And it's not even Boba Fett, it's Mando. This show, bro. I lost brain cell watching it. Uh, yeah, it's like Disney in a nutshell. Humor when they try to be funny, it just doesn't land. It's just terrible, man. They broke my mind. They broke my brain. Um, Now, because it's a TV show and there's only 7 episodes, let's talk about guys' favorite and worst episodes. So I will start. The worst episode for me was the first one with a 6 out of 10. It was barely watchable. I felt very generous with my 6, and that reflects very well every issues. Um, Pacing was terrible. The writing was shit. The flashbacks were a waste of time. Plot convenience. Boba just bumping into the criminals as they did their crime. Whatever. That was my least favorite. My favorite episode was um, episode 5. And the only issue I had with episode 5 that's hilarious, that's pacing. It's like, bro, even when you got Mendo around, you cannot have a good pacing, please.
Why? What do you mean? You didn't like how, building the ship took like 50 minutes?
How you walk like for 20 minutes on that new city with
yeah, I know. So I hope you took my advice and before this, then watched Mandalorian season 1 and season 2. So then it makes sense. And you did okay. And because then you'll also realize there's an issue with that episode though, and that's how stupid that whole thing plays out. Like she already knew he took his helmet off before. Yeah. And then she was like, okay. And then she asked again, and he said yes, because yes, he did because of that one incident, but didn't then again. But then that time she's like, you're banished. Like, what? Wait, what? Can somebody explain that to me?
I don't know. I'm sure the writer don't even know as well.
Like, what a stupid fucking thing.
Have you seen it, DC?
I only got through the first episode, but
if you get what we are saying, do you?
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't even like the minutes I was able to watch of the first episode, and besides, I was more focused on The Mandalorian, which is our next.
You did right. Okay, even if you didn't really like Mandalorian, it was much better than this shit. Yeah. What about you, Cole? What would be your least favorite episode in this awful season?
Oh, that's hard to choose. Damn, I think. I mean, it's definitely one of the first 4. I guess maybe like episode 3 or something. I don't know, but
any of the first 4 is a legit complaint.
Yeah, it literally just any of those first 4. I guess I wouldn't say the first because I guess since it was newer, I mean, it wasn't like old at that point, and there was some okay stuff, like the fight at the very end with that monster creature. Episode 2, yeah, boring as fuck, and the train stuff didn't really interest me. It was just like, but so that would definitely be up there. So yeah, I guess like episode 3 or episode 2, I guess maybe. Thing is, though, it's like I forgot what was even in episode 4, so I wouldn't know because that's how forgettable this is. I guess that was like when they were like touching on some things like that's when he
episode 4 was
like,
the flashback.
He finally had like that, and that's when he like finally had like a jetpack scene. I think again in episode 4 after like just walking around forever. So yeah, I don't know.
Um,
Anyway, it's I can't decide. But anyway, my favorite episode though, episode 5, I guess I'll say maybe, or episode 7. It's one of those two, I guess. Episode 6 wasn't even that good, but it was all right.
I got bunch of issues with 7. Even if it was very entertaining, it was better than the first 4, but that was kind of shit.
Oh yeah, no, it had issues too, and it had some bad shots, and it was just like it was sort of like just like throwing everything at the wall at the very end. But given the positives though, and the fact that like every other episode had the same flaws, I mean, I still have to call it one of the best.
Yeah, that's true. 7 is one of the best, but it's deeply flawed. What about you, Parker? What was your least favorite, and what was your favorite about the Book of Failure? Sorry, Book of Boba Fett.
I'm gonna be real with you, man. I watched it when it first came out, and I don't remember which episodes are what.
Just
my
describe
least
like
favorite.
your worst moments.
My least favorite's probably the one where they showed the fucking chrome speeders from the 1980s.
Oh yeah, they look.
That was 4. That was the
Okay, so
flashbacks. Yeah.
probably 4, and the best one, I don't know, probably, I don't know, maybe the finale, because it was like all the other episodes were kind of just like leading up to it, I guess, or maybe one of the Mandalorian 2.5 episodes.
Well, 7 was Mandalorian 2.5 / Boba Fett. That was like the big crossover. Oh my. That was a terrible TV show. Except if you guys would like to add more to this shit show, let's speak about our grade out of 10.
I guess I'll give it like a around like a 4 or 3.5, I guess, around that.
What about you, Parker?
I'm gonna give it a 4. So like this show didn't I felt like it didn't really know what it wanted to be, because like first it started off with him being like in a Tusken Raider tribe, and until it didn't. Then it was about him trying to do like Goodfellas, and then it didn't. And then it was supposed to be about him until it became Mandalorian 2.5, and then like the flow just died.
They gave a flashback, to like in the finale of him doing the tribe stuff. That's how he defeated the one guy by using his skills with the stick he learned from the tribe. So by tripping him, so it made perfect sense to waste 3 episodes on that, right?
Right. I gave a 4 out of 10. Finally, it's done.
So we all gave it like a 4. Okay.
I hope it get canceled. I don't want to see more.
Well,
of
this was
shit.
like a one thing, I guess, a 1 season thing. But if there was one in plan, that I think it would have been scrapped.
It was just too bad, man.
Yeah,
I'm
like, let's
sure
see.
if that was a 2.5-hour movie, that would have worked. That would have been good. But that's a freaking 5-hour show where nothing happens. And you're like, only 3 episodes out of 7 are worth watching. Oh my.
I just wish it stuck with one theme. Like if they did the whole thing of him trying to survive in the desert, if they wrote it better, that could have been interesting. If they just tried doing like a mafia type of show, which is what I thought they were going to try to do, like if they just stuck with that, it could have been fine. But they tried to balance so much stuff that like none of it worked, because none of it had like time
I seriously
to
thought it'd be like a Goodfellas type thing, but whatever.
So
that's what they said, by the way.
I will take picture of the timestamp. Mandalorian season 1.
Right, finally.
Yeah, something good.
Yeah. Now again, this show, I will say in general, Now, I think season one was very, very good, actually great, and season
Yeah.
two was very good, and season three, which we'll get to next week, it was solid, but I had my fair share of issues with it. But overall, no, it's a good show. I don't think it's like amazing though. A lot of people are hyped this up, have rated it highly. Like gave it like a 8.9 overall on IMDb, and yeah, really love it. I don't think it's like that amazing though. I think it's a good show. Just I don't know if I would give it anything above that. There are moments where it's amazing, but I think the main reason why people overhype it so much is because after all the dog shit they were fed by Disney, just a very good show, like a very good prop show or film that does things right and that doesn't fuck up characters, and that also gives them nice nostalgia and like fan service is enough for them to then love it because of all the shit they were given. I think if it wasn't for that, they would just say it's like it maybe like great, but yeah, not like amazing as they were saying. But yeah, season one, yeah, my favorite out of the three that have released so far. Really great. I think there's so much good direction by them. Good nostalgia, throwbacks, fan service moments, some good character stuff, some good action. Visually, really well done. Sound design, really well done. Yeah, I have really no issues with it, and very, very compelling story bits. And yeah, no really like annoying parts in it. Yeah, and they definitely flush out some things very well, make some things better, and some things intriguing as well. Uh, oh God, if I were, let's see, trying to remember what was. I'm trying to remember of some things, but I think it might have been in season two. But yeah. But anyway, production design and costume design also good. But I think later on it might get a little tiring just seeing so much of Baby Yoda. But for now, it's good and it's well done. But yeah, there are other things that I was trying to think of, but I've forgotten right now, so I won't touch on it yet. I guess I'll let you guys go now.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Parker? What did you think of Mendel first season?
I actually didn't like it the first time I watched it. My opinion has changed since then after watching. Funny enough, after watching Cowboy Bebop. Uh, but when I first watched Mandalorian, I didn't like it because I wasn't really fond of the like the anthology type of storytelling. Like I would have preferred if there was like sort of an overarching like story. But after like ever since the first time I watched it, I've watched like a lot more different types of uh types of like anthology type shows like that, like Cowboy Bebop. That's a space western kind of thing, and that kind of completely changed my opinion on it. Once I realized that other shows do it and it's a common thing, and they actually thought they did it quite well. And like the last couple episodes are kind of like its own like big story arc thing. So I enjoyed it. I don't think it's like super good. I think it's good. There's I just can't stand Baby Yoda. I'm so sick whenever I see it
They need to
in
sell
frame.
toys,
But
bro.
it's like, but I guess they do a better job with putting him to the side in like seasons 2 and 3. But like in the first one, like he's front and center like all the time, and it's just
Yeah,
like,
I mean they
yeah,
they definitely force him a little too much. They should have like not done it that much. But
We
again,
need
a
to
lot of
sell
people love
toys,
him.
guys. Guys are
A
too
lot of
harsh,
yeah, a
man.
lot of people love
Well,
Baby Yoda, so that's why they do it. But yeah, definitely. Also, there apparently like the directors and such of like the Gremlins films. They say that it's like a ripoff of the Gremlin character
Facts.
Of Gizmo. I don't know if you've seen the Gremlins movies multi.
I think I did as a child, probably
I
because
don't know if
my
you saw the
mother was
second, but I know you saw the first.
my mother was really into it, so I most likely did, but I just can't remember this shit.
But yeah, they
But
say
I
it's like
think
a
I did.
rip off of Gizmo, basically the Gremlin main character. And yeah, I kind of have to agree with them to an extent. But anyway,
We
yeah,
need to sell toys, guys.
yeah, basically.
Cute
Also, I will
baby.
add, I
Use
do like
force.
how they introduce certain like actors in the franchise. So I really, like Carl Weathers, and also I believe it was like maybe season 3 they did it in. I can't remember, but yeah, I think it was because I don't remember rewatching it. But yeah, like season 3, they brought back the a certain actor, which I won't spoil, but when we get to it, it'll be a lot of fun in season
Oh, I'll
3.
spoil it.
Uh, I mean, you
Down,
don't know who I'm talking
down,
about.
down.
Oh, oh, maybe you're right. I was only half paying attention. Sorry. Sometimes that happens.
Okay, so I will say this: the first season is amazing. My only big issue is episode 5. I believe that was the one where they basically had that side quest where they needed to free a prisoner, and people end up betraying Mendo, and then Mendo betrayed them back. And that episode, as much as the idea was really cool and it was a very entertaining episode, that was the weakest one because it felt like a filler only to fill an empty seat.
That's fine. 'Cause I actually really like that episode. I really enjoyed the fucking what's his name, Mayfield. I think he's a very cool character, especially in season 2. But in season 1 too, I thought he was. I like that
Mhm.
episode a lot. The one I didn't like was the planet with like the spider stuff on it. That one kind of felt like a filler episode to me,
That
Oh,
where it's
was
like
was
that
they're
season
like
transporting the
2.
eggs or whatever. That
That
season
was
2.
season 2, yeah.
yeah.
Dude? I keep thinking that's season 1. I'm so sorry. This is like the third time I've done that.
But
That's
yeah, I
fine.
mean, I would say
That's
definitely the
fine.
weakest for me are like I like that character as well, but episode 5 was still like the weakest for me, and because of other issues, and also episode 4. But the rest I really enjoyed, and my favorites would probably be like honestly like maybe episode 2, maybe I really enjoyed
Yeah.
actually, and
Episode
episode
2, I feel like episode 2, the only point of that one was to showcase that Baby Yoda had the Force. It was
No,
Force
well, no, I'm
sensitive.
not saying it did like the most story wise and stuff, but I think it was just really well done the episode though on like every standpoint. So that's why I'm going to throw that in there. But then I would say episode 7 and 8 are definitely up there, and then episode 3, and then the others are more in the middle, like episode 6, episode 1 for me, and that.
I thought episode 2 was like outside of Baby Yoda using the Force, that was filler. That's my issue with 2.
Mm.
But I
Yeah,
still
I
I
actually
mean,
enjoyed
it
like it
it.
might have
too.
been a bit filler, but it was one of the best made episodes, I think.
So, there's not many issues for me with this show. I already point out my issues. Like I thought some of the moment were kind of filler. I was very entertained. The overall season was great. And if my only issue is sometimes it's filler, that means for me that's a masterpiece. Like the action, the music, every planet feels very different, and the funny stuff is funny, and it feels different, and it adds more to the lore that's actually interesting. Um, and it's a proof that you don't need to show your face every 2 minutes to showcase emotion, to be someone that has charisma.
Mm-hmm.
He has his
We're
helmet.
looking at you, Boba Fett. We're looking at you, Halo.
Yeah, yeah, we are staring at you. We are showing you the way. And at the end of the first season, when he finally takes off his helmet, it feels earned. And in season 2, when he finally takes off his helmet again, it's because character growth. So, like, taking off the helmet is not a meme in this show, it's something serious. and something that really matters. And I think that's the strength. The action, the fight choreography is really cool. Um, and as I said, the humor is also on point. That's I think I would rewatch. And fun fact, very fun fact, that was actually the second time I was seeing the first episode. The rest of the season, that was the first time, but uh, the first episode I had seen it in the past at my friend's place where we get drunk, we watch movies and shows, and I passed out after the first action piece, and I woke up at the end and I was like, "My, what happened?" Um, Outside of that, Mendo first season is really good. I was kind of bothered by the fact that the villain of season one survived the plane crash, only to come back in season two, and I was like, "Bruh, I don't like that villain. He's a shit villain. Why is he back? Just
But I mean, they had
delete him."
But I mean, they had multiple scenes where Baby Yoda is literally in the middle of a battle and someone's holding him, and they had to like because they're
Activate orb.
Yeah, they had to. They drop on a few occasions. It's like, and there's many scenes like that. I'm like, how is Baby Yoda not dead yet? It's like, surely he would be dead at least, or be hit at least at one point.
Well,
And I love, and the thing I hated about this season was Mandalorian was an unlikable character in my opinion, because he just kept leaving the baby in areas like in episode 5. He just leaves the baby in the ship instead of first going out to check if there's any person around to watch the baby. Because in earlier episode, in episode 4, when he went away, he actually had the waiter at least watch the baby. It's like wow, it's like yeah, and it doesn't help that the entire show has its fight scenes, and it's not like the worst, but I mean it's kind of the same thing. Um, I really hate the cliche that they did in episode 1, where all they did was the droid was going to murder the baby, and and the Mandalorian decides to fire the baby. No, the droid. But yeah, yeah, and those
they
are some.
also they also paid off the self destruct device in the very end. Like many times, that was a running joke where the droid needed to end himself to not let itself being captured, and at the very end, he does that to save everyone. That was a great payoff, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, people cannot name again. But here again, it's normal. The moment you give guns to people, they will forget they can aim. Um, so, um, anything else to add, Cole or Parker or DC, uh, before we move on to least favorite episode and favorite episodes?
Well, I just want to say that there's a very convenient reason why the stormtroopers always miss in the lore, and that's because and funny enough, this is actually talked about in Star Wars: The Bad Batch. Um, is like after the Jedi Purge and everything, and as stuff started moving towards like post prequels, early original series where it's like the Empire is consolidating its power and everything. They sort of phase out the clone troopers, and they sort of like they allow like regular normal people to get to what's it called, to enlist. And considering the clone troopers were specifically bred to be killing machines, and then comparing them to like regular people, you just blame it on just like regular people don't know how to shoot guns, and that's kind of why the stormtroopers are just really poopy all the time.
Okay. My personal least favorite episode. I am currently looking into my score. It's quite hard for me. I think that would be episode 6 because that's the one I had one of the lowest score, which was a 9.5. Um, but I also had like the less amount of likes. My issues were can't aim. The other one was the time felt off. They mentioned they got 20 minutes, but after 10 rushed minute, time appeared to go slower. Oh, that was actually episode 6, the filler one, not 5. I was wrong. That's episode 6, the filler one. Um, so yeah, my favorite episode was. Let me check. Fun fact: that was episode 2. Even if I thought like the idea of it was filler, up to the point where we see Grogu use the Force, that was still my favorite episode. I have no issue whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah. You see,
So, what would be your least favorite episode, followed by your favorite Marvel DC Extinction?
All right, so my least favorite episodes, I'm gonna say episode 5, episode 4, and episode 3. Whereas episode 1 and 2 are episodes that I enjoyed. I didn't really like them that much, but I'm just gonna say that they're on the good ones for now, and I think that's about it. Unless I can say one of the episodes I didn't watch. But yeah, those two is fine for now.
What about you, Cole? Least favorite and favorite?
okay. Let me pull it up again. I'm pretty sure I already said it, but I'll say it again. My favorites would be. I'm just pulling up the IMDb thing, but one of them is episode 2. Then the another one would probably be episode 3, and then pretty much the last two. So it would be those four that are like in my upper echelon, and then my favorite. But my favorite out of those would probably be episode 7 and episode 2, and then my least favorites would be episode 4 and episode 5.
What about you, Parker? Favorite and least favorite episodes?
My least favorite would be episode 5, the one with the really pathetic gunslinger guy. Granted, he's supposed to be a loser, but still, I just wasn't really a fan of that episode. And my favorite would probably be the finale. I really liked the last one.
Perfect. What would be your score out of 10, starting with Parker?
7 out of 10.
What about you, DC?
A 2.5.
My, you really didn't like.
Yeah.
What about you, Cole?
I guess I'll give it like a 7.75 around that. So
Okay. I will sound crazy. I gave this first season 9.7 out of 10. If my only issue is one episode is filler and the other is almost filler, well, that's not a big deal. Sometimes people miss, but that's a trope, that's a cliche. So yes, that was issues here and there in the show, but in the overall season, it's not that bad. Um, so
yeah,
I guess
I mean, I will say though that maybe try to defend episode 2 a bit that you thought was a bit filler. I would say it's also like more so instead of like doing it just to then show off that later. I would say it's more so like him get in bond in time with him, so then it makes sense later on instead of because with what they did later on, it would make sense if they did more of that. So I think that's what the episode was more for.
yeah. Now Mendo season 2. What's that season where we had Luke first cameo where he just
Yeah,
took down all the droids.
Yes.
That was insane. I really like this shit. Anyway,
Hmm.
season 2. Who wants to start on season 2?
I mean, I don't have much to say, so I'll just go quickly. Yes. Yeah. No. Again, really enjoyed it. I didn't like it as much as season one though. Had more gripes with it. But I still really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the finale episode. I'm still 50-50 on that, like CGI type stuff, but still. And, seeing him take off his helmet again there was really, interesting. Yeah, well, I didn't like it as much as season one just because I thought there were points in more episodes a lot weaker, but they were, however, the premise or like, missions and stuff in like each of these episodes, I thought there were a lot of cool things and even more cool than season one. Like I thought the one episode 5 was awesome to see. And also episode, I believe it was 6. I also thought that was very interesting to tackle. So yeah, really have no issues with the visual, filmmaking, technical aspects are all great. Again, there are points in episodes that I think are a little bit filler, more so than season one. So that's another thing I dock off a little bit, but yeah, for the most part, very good. Don't have much to say really about this one. It's been a little while since I saw it, so it's not really the furthest in my memory. Like I rewatched season one before this, but I didn't have time to rewatch season 2. So yeah, so that's pretty much all I have to really say. But yeah, who wants to go next?
Parker, what do you have to say about season 2?
Uh, yeah, I feel like so I feel like season 2 had individually like better. No, so I felt some parts of season 2 had higher highs, but I feel like it also had lower lows too. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
season 1 was a lot more consistent across the board. Where even like the episodes that were my least favorites in season 1, I still thought were pretty good. In this one, I fucking hate the second episode. I fucking hate it. It's
Yeah, it
awful.
was
I,
bad.
I, I hate it. It's
It was
just
so
it's
bad.
especially coming off the first episode, which I loved. I thought the opening episode was really really good with the whole Crate Dragon thing, and I love that episode in particular because as I mentioned before, I'm a huge Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic fan, and it's almost point for point the Crate Dragon hunt with what you have to do in the video game. So I appreciate like the sort of fan service that they did for that, for something that's a bit more like niche, especially now that that game's like 20 years old. Not everyone would like catch that reference unless if you played it before. And I don't know, I thought that was very well done. But I liked Tython. I thought it was really cool to see that finally show up in a live action Star Wars, considering how important it is in sort of like the expanded universe kind of thing. And another thing I noticed with this season was there were a lot more there was a lot more fan service in this. Like Bo-Katan shows up from the Clone Wars and Rebels TV shows. Um, the coolest fucking guy ever shows up in the last episode. Um, there's someone else who makes a cameo. Ahsoka shows up also from the Clone Wars show. So it's like there's a lot more like fan servicey stuff that appears in this season, which I feel like kind of like drags it down a little bit for me. But I don't. But I feel like they're still done pretty well, and there's kind of like a reason why they show up in the story. Oh, and Boba, he shows up too, so that's like 4
Yeah,
cameo people. Yeah, silly me.
yeah. How shocking do you think the post-credit scene of season 2 would have been if he didn't show up in Mandalorian prior to that post-credit scene.
Oh, that. Oh, that's right. Yeah, there was a post-credit scene in season 1. I forgot
Yeah,
about
that
that.
sets up Book of Boba Fett, and he walks in, and everybody's shocked he's still alive. Imagine if they didn't have him, in any episodes in season 2 before that, and that just is randomly done because we did not know before Mandalorian he was still alive.
Yeah.
So, I got a bit more issues with this season, and I think every single episode is slightly worse than what we had in season 1.
Yeah, it's definitely a downgrade. And again, everything you said, Parker, completely agree with. That's pretty much my thoughts on this.
Cool.
I feel like just like season 1, only one episode felt filler. And there's the second issue and the third one. The second one is no episode really stood out. This is an issue for me. You got 8 episodes. You should have like one masterpiece where I'm like, that's amazing. I want to see it again. You got 8 shots. I won't say you missed all your 8 shots, but no shot were like perfect headshot. Like you shot me
there's
on
a
the
lot
feet.
of people online who think so, but I think that's just because of cameos. Like, I know episode 5 has like a 9.5 on IMDb, but I think that's just because of Soka. And then the last episode has a 9.8, but I think that's just because of Luke.
And that's funny because the last episode, even if I enjoyed the crap out of Luke, I thought that was actually the weakest episode. It had the most issues. And here again, people can aim, but here that's an issue for me because, like, every single week, it's an issue that keeps coming back because it's all about spectacle. Oh, big shootout, but nobody falls down. Nobody gets gold, you know? It's like, bruh, guys, can you take some target practice or can you learn, please? Um, so yeah, when I said filler episode 2 this time around was filler. The one with the egg, uh, and they did it too many times. Baby Yoda eating the eggs. I get it, that's comic relief, but they did one time too many. Um, yeah, um, that's that. That's what you said, Cole. That's the downgrade from season 1. Uh, it's all about spectacle, and there's one thing I forgot to mention about season 1. I really liked Mendo growth into respecting and loving the droids, because in season 1, when you first pick him up, he doesn't like droids and he doesn't trust droids, and because a droid saved his life and because a droid was deleted for his safety, um, he started liking and trusting droids at the end of season 1, and that's really cool. And I'm glad because season 2 also let Mendo have some growth. Season 2 themes is about change, and maybe the old ways is not the best way, and I kind of like the idea a lot. And we also get mental growth through him removing his helmet to save someone, to help someone. And he realized at that point, maybe like the other guild of Mandalorian, they are right to just take off their helmet, you know? Maybe the old way is wrong. Um, at first, it's a clash because he's kind of insulted that someone just took off his helmet or her helmet in front of him. But then it came to conclusion at the end of the season that the old ways are not necessarily the best ways, and I like that. I will stand behind that character growth. Um, Here again, that feels earned when he takes off the helmet. First time, it's for the machine to recognize his face. and the second time it's when he says goodbye to Grogu, and then Boba Fett just undermines everything. Um, Boba Fett cameo was cool. I think it's actually very funny that Boba Fett was better in Mandalorian than he was in his own TV show. That's a shame, bruh. How can you miss the mark?
Ugh.
Ow! I'm really wondering. Ow! Can someone answer me?
I don't know how it's possible.
It's really so yeah, I already spoiled it, but my least favorite episode in season 2 was the last one with a 9 out of 10. And my issues were don't they know they only sent men to capture the scientists? If so, how they didn't expect a trap? Because a woman answered them over the radio. I'm really wondering. Um, people can't aim. People can't aim. Great. Um, Now, my favorite episode this season, that's funny because that's the filler episode. That's my favorite because my only issue was the fact that it was filler. So it's fair to say it was my favorite.
You, you you shut your mouth right now.
Why?
No. No.
The egg episode was cool. I liked it. And they made
No.
episode 5 relevant. Because they're like, oh, that's the guy that saved someone on the prison in season 1. They redeemed an episode that was kind of weak in season 1. Um, so yeah, the highlight is really like Mandalorian learning. Maybe his ways are the wrong way. Um, I also liked Ahsoka a lot. She was cool. Luke, amazing. Just him going through all of the droid and destroying them. That was like the best action piece the show had. Uh, I would just rewatch that shit. Like the savior is just coming and he mows down all of these robots. Like um, Mendel had struggled to take one down, and you just have Luke that destroyed an entire platoon. I'm like, bruh, that's my boy. Um, so yeah, what would be your least favorite episode, Parker?
Uh, my least favorite was the egg episode. I hate it with every fiber of my being. It's garbage.
It's amazing.
And,
What are
and
you
it's and
talking
it's an
about?
episode where it's like when it plays, I cringe because it's just dumb. I also didn't like the episode where they blow up the Imperial base thing. I thought that one was kind of a little lame. Uh, but my favorite episode was the one when Ahsoka showed up. I really liked that one. That was pretty well done. I loved the Thrawn name drop, and that is the only reason why I am so excited for the new Ahsoka show, because Thrawn's my favorite Star Wars character ever, and they have Lars Mikkelsen, who is the guy who voiced him in the Rebels show. He's actually playing him live action.
Yeah, I saw
For
that today. I was surprised.
and
he's
Lars is
in
a
it.
very fucking good actor, so I'm excited.
Yeah, and he's barely been in much, sadly. But yeah, I was surprised when I saw that. I saw that today when I was looking at the cast. I was like, oh, he's in it.
Yeah,
So
I'm really excited for that. So that episode's probably my favorite. I also really liked the episode where it's the episode with Mayfield in it, where they infiltrate the base, where it's like, he has to take off his helmet and everything. So I thought it was pretty tense throughout the whole episode, not just with him, but also the conversation that Mayfield had with the Imperial officer. I thought
Oh
that
yeah,
that dialogue exchange was like chef's kiss. Like I loved it.
amazing. Yeah,
I loved it. That is probably my favorite scene in the whole show. Is that conversation.
yeah. I liked it as well. I didn't mention it because I didn't think of it, but I'm with you, man. Feel you.
Like it almost it kind of reminded me of the heat scene where like the two are sitting in the diner, except this is like a lot more tense, but still, two people very, strong in their own respective convictions, and it's just like I love it. So those are
Yeah,
my two favorite episodes. Fuck the egg bubble episode thing, whatever. Get that out of my face. I don't want to think about it anymore. I hate it.
that was an amazing episode, bro. What are you talking about? What about you, Cole? Least favorite
Okay,
and
let's see.
favorite.
Least favorite, definitely episode 2. Fuck that episode. And then
Thank you.
Bruh, why you guys
And
are
then
so harsh with my boy, the eggs?
and then episode 4. And also I'm glad that bitch is actually away from the Star Wars show now because she wasn't even very good. Okay. I'm not even gonna say her name. But anyway, favorite episodes would be episode 5 and episode 6,
Let me
which is
see.
the Jedi with Ahsoka, and then the tragedy, the
I
ancient
like
site.
both.
Yeah,
Fun fact: as an honorable mention, episode 7 was most likely my second favorite.
that one's good too. And yeah, I did like the last episode, even if I had issues with it. Mainly episode 4 and episode 2 I didn't like. The rest were good, but I wouldn't say it's as good of a season as season 1. And yeah, I like more of the connections and coherentness of season 1.
I think for me, this season is a 9.5 out of 10. What about you, Parker?
Uh, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Same as season 1. Again, uh, its highs are higher, but its lows are lower too. And I feel like it's kind of like
Yeah,
like a sine curve where it just kind of balances out at the end.
What about you, Cole?
I'll give it a 7.
Ooh, very interesting. I sound crazy. I'm the only one that liked the
But
egg,
not
and I'm
listen.
the only one that thinks this season is amazing.
Well, listen, for me, a 7 is great. Now, it's not amazing, but I mean, it's not too far away from it.
So that's it for the Star Wars topic. The final and last topic. Have you seen the Black Mirror TV show at all, Parker?
The Who? What's that?
Black Mirror. Have you seen that TV show?
I have not, unfortunately. So I am gonna boogie.
So thank you very much for joining us, Parker. It's always a pleasure. We will post the schedule for the next week, and at the start of every month. Sorry, at the start of every month, Cole and I are working on the schedule, and we post it on the chat. But as of next week, we will have right after the stream the schedule for next week for the
Yeah,
topics.
it will be for. Yeah, I doubt you've seen any of the shows that will be on there probably, unless you've seen Invincible, because we'll be doing this special episode that came out on that. But for the movie wise, though, for next week, it will be Oppenheimer, the new Mission Impossible, Infinity Pool, Possessor, and then one other, yeah, the Dungeons and Dragons film. So if you've seen any of those or want to before it, then
I saw Oppenheimer. I don't think any of the other ones are on my list besides wait. Yeah, I don't think any of the other ones are on my list, so I'll just pop in
yeah,
for Oppenheimer.
yeah. I mean, each year we review, well, like some of the best films ever that we have that he hasn't seen yet, but we're just watching through all of them. But we're also gonna watch a lot of films throughout each year that are some of the most popular or considered some of the best of the year, to get a good idea of the year all around. So, some films like Infinity Pool wouldn't watch otherwise. But yeah. I mean, I would recommend the Dungeons and Dragons one and the Possessor one at least. I would say those two are probably, but two of the best ones on there, along with Oppenheimer.
And we also cover TV shows, but since it's kind of late in their run, even
Yeah, and I
Smallville.
don't know if you would be into like
Yeah,
CW shows,
yeah,
but after that we'll be covering more like Marvel stuff and
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Most of the shows that I watch are anime, but not like the shitty weeb anime. I mean, like I watch stuff like Vinland Saga and like like early Berserk and like Cowboy Bebop stuff like that. So if you ever,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
you like anime? Oh, you talk well to me. So I'm not the biggest anime fan, but I'm very picky. I like a lot of different anime, like Bleach, Naruto, and stuff. There's a few anime I really like, but I dislike like Dragon Ball, that's kind of shit. And I'm not really up to date to like every new anime, but I had plans in the past to create a podcast just like the one we are doing right now, but all about anime. So we will talk later, Parker. Maybe if you're interested and if you want, we could do that podcast together. You would be my call for that podcast.
sounds good. Send me the deets and I'll see what I could do.
Yeah. So anything else you'd like to add before leaving?
Uh, no, I just love talking Star Wars. So whenever you have a Star Wars topic, I will be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Parker. Take care. Have a good one.
And
So,
yeah, just letting you know, I did not have time for Black Mirror at all. So yeah,
so are you leaving as well?
yeah. Unfortunately, I have to. Also, my phone's like 19% as well. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, DC. As usual, you are amazing. We are glad to have you on in the show. Is there anything you'd like to add? Is there anything going on your channel?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much. We will talk later and take care, DC.
All right, same. Bye.
Bye. So it's just you and I, Cole.
Yeah, so for this episode,
My.
this is a Christmas special type episode they released like a year after season 2, but some sites have it a part of season 2 as an episode 4. Some or whatever the episode number would be. Others have it as like season 3 episode 0, so it's sort of that in that mix, but either way, this is considered like, at least by everybody online, like one of the, if not like the best episodes in the show ever. And I don't know
I
if you'll feel that way, but
no.
I mean, for you didn't like it? Wow. I mean, for me,
I
I
didn't
thought it.
hate it, but I don't think it's the
Wow.
best one.
I mean, I thought it was really great. But I mean, I thought the acting was all really well done. I thought all the stories and stuff were intriguing. Now, some of the stuff was a little. I do think some of the stuff in the middle though wasn't that interesting or wasn't like, that compelling. Of like, again though, this was like 2013 though, so this was like even like before some of this like technology or like sci-fi movies topics we have today. So for its time, it wasn't like, as whatever, but I mean, yeah, I mean, no, like the second story, like for example, it wasn't that interesting in my opinion, but still overall, it was still really good. And yeah, I think it was compelling and the character stuff, and I think just the third story and the twist was all amazing. And I think that's what makes the episode and why a lot of people think it's like amazing, like the best episode. Yeah, I think it's well made though, really well made, and the way it was shot and how and presented, like where we like had no clue, what was going on the whole way through, and yeah, I think it was really well done in that light. It's not my favorite episode, but it's definitely one of the top ones for me, in my opinion, at least. But yeah, anyway, I need to go for like 1 minute, but you can like discuss what you have to think, I guess, while I'm gone if you want.
Oh my. Okay. Looks like Cole is doing something else right now. I will let him know to let me know. Let me know when you're back. So I mentioned an anime podcast. Um, if Parker is willing to, I will trade that anime podcast eventually when I get more time for that. As of right now, it's not really the right moment for this, but eventually we will get an anime podcast with Parker on. Um, so yeah, I cannot wait for that. For a long time, I really wanted to make that anime podcast, and the chance will happen eventually with Parker. Um, and yeah, I cannot wait for Cole to be back so I can dive deep into why I don't think this episode is that amazing. It's not a bad episode by any means. Black Mirror being bad just feels wrong. It's not bad. It's one of the weakest, but it's not bad by any means. So I added this to the playlist of the podcast. Okay. Um, I wish we had K Dot on. Apparently, he didn't come. Maybe something happened. The same goes for Chillmonger because he didn't come as well. Just fine. They still came like 2 weeks in a row, which is great. Um, let's hope next week we
Right, my
get.
bad. I'm back.
Okay, you're back. I didn't dive deep at all into the special White Christmas.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, well, you can now, I guess.
Okay. My two issues are pacing. I really thought that episode was way too long. Um, it was an hour and 15 minutes, but I feel like they could have told the same thing under like 40 to 50 minutes. So it's like 20 minutes of like, okay, build up. Um, I do like the depiction of social interaction. That's really cool. The guy talking to the girl, I can't remember. Oh, that was the lore around like uh, the brain being like uploaded into the chip or something like that. The downside of technology is great. People blocking each other instead of having real talk is really accurate. Just like look at social media and like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Like people just block each other because they're like, oh, we don't agree and we can't talk anymore, so let's block each other. Imagine that in the end of someone on a day-to-day basis. That's hilarious. Um, I can bet this will happen in the future. Perfect example of how technology will eventually go too far. And the reveal and all of the plot twists, the girl cheated on the guy, and the guy ended up unaliving the poor daughter, was really cool. It was really dark. I enjoyed what they were trying to do. I really think it's the execution that wasn't really on point. Um, so I don't have much more to say. That's why I waited for you to come because I know if I elaborate while you were gone, you're back and I would be done. Um, is there anything you'd like to add more about this? Do you have any questions?
Let's see. I mean, well, what did you did you see the plot twist come in at all?
To be honest, no, I had no clue.
Yeah. What do you think of the production design of like the area they were staying at? Like, like making it look like authentic, but behind
That
that,
was well done.
yeah,
I think it's something they always nailed. It's something they always do right. They
yeah.
are able.
Especially later on, they have that Netflix money where they really they spend it on a lot of episodes.
Yeah, I think like the actors, the writing, most of the time it's rock solid. And the biggest complaints I usually have is like more the execution and the way they do things. But the production, it's always I value. I really think it's a very entertaining show, but I will be honest, it drains me. Even if I like it, it drains me. Like when they were 40 minutes, I was like, oh, okay, that's something I can watch, and I can
Yeah.
watch maybe two in a row, two maybe three if I really got lots of energy. But when I see an hour long, I'm drained. I just, even if I want to, I just can't. I won't be as
Uh,
focused, or like I won't have the same kind of vibe toward
yeah.
the
Well,
second
that's
one.
understandable. But what I will say is, now that you watched this, this was considered like one of the best in the whole show. But now with where you're at on season three, though, the next ones you're watching, episode three of season two, episode four, episode five, and episode six. Episode five is considered like the weakest of that season. You know, it's just kind of whatever. It's just bland, simple. But out the other three that you're gonna watch next, the other ones left of the season you're watching right now are also considered like three of the best in the whole show's history. So we'll see, if you agree with any of that. But you didn't really with this one. But also,
Yeah,
what did you think of the performances in this one by the two leads there, like, and mainly the one who was like kind of interrogating him?
they were very likable, and you're like, oh, they know what they are doing. They know what they need to say, how they need to react. Um, I really felt like I was the guy that was interrogated.
Yeah, pretty much, basically, and
I
really
think that
well
was the
done.
intent. I
And
think
that
that
was the
was the
intent
intent.
pretty much.
Yeah,
And then just the ending as well with him being blocked from society still is like, God, that feeling.
that's sad, man. When you see him being blocked by everyone, you're
Yeah, and
like,
that's kind of realistic to now. It's like
yeah,
it's like you say one thing that like people who own a site disagree with, and then it's like you're banned for life on there, and now it's today because they'll ban like your phone number, your identity, your email, and then they'll also carry it over to other sites like, since like Facebook and Instagram are connected and Twitter, it's kind of like turning into real life now with like online, you
yeah.
know.
And that's also why it's scary, because I know this kind of shit will happen, and
Yeah, especially
this
with like
go
not having physical copies of like films and games anymore as well.
yeah, this goes back to something in society that went wrong, and this is punishment over rehabilitation. Rehabilitation, I hope it's the same thing in English as French. Rehabilitation is when someone is an ex-convict and you try to support him into uh, joining society the right way.
Hmm.
Is it
Yeah,
yeah, okay, so yeah.
yeah. Like honestly, I think in my opinion, look, unless you did something that is like so illegal and irredeemable, like say like a terrorist act or terrorist threats or something, or like pedophilia. Like I think, like even if you're a fucking racist, I think there should be a like a 10-year ban on your account. Like maybe by then the guy like got help,
Yeah,
went to like rehab, think back about his old ways. It's like you should, I think, and and have the chance to like send in an appeal. But if they don't do that, which I think is stupid, I think you should always have a chance, unless it's like something irredeemable, like as in society. I think you should always have a second chance, like eventually down the line, no matter what you did.
and here's the thing. You mentioned adults into kids. That's wrong, and for good reason. It's wrong. The other thing is these people usually need help, and when they get sent in jail or in hospital specialized in that, they get help, and will they change? Well, most of it depends on their choice once they're out, but they still deserve a second chance, even if it's really wrong what they did. Um, if they're willing to change, I think everyone deserves a second chance. But here, our focus is really like punishment. Like we don't really think about changing people. We just want to punish them because that's on our blood. We are human. We want revenge. We want justice in some kind, but we don't realize that the people that traded victim are victim after that. Even if they did terrorist attack, or they did really wrong thing, they are also victim in the end, because their choice made them the villain, and they will remain villain for the rest of their life, and the guilt that will pressure them, because some people, when they end up ending someone's life, they have guilt over that, except if you're a sociopath, but then you still have like therapy and stuff, so they still try to fix you up, and we are so focused on having our like kind of revenge on them that we don't see them as human anymore, but we are all human, and we are all um, victim of what we do, and um, I'm not saying they are not responsible or accountable. They are, but at some point we need to move on, for society to evolve, for people to change, we need to let them change, let them show us they can be worthy of a second chance, and if they mess up again, send them back, punish them again. Some people only understand by punishment, but not everyone understand by punishment, if you know what I mean. And society really need to work on that. Like, I forgot which country is that. I think it's Swiss or somewhere in that area in Europe. They have really severe sentence,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
usually people are really staying there for a long time. But once they're freed, they're not just thrown in the street and say you're on your own now. No, there's an entire system that help them rehabilitate, and there the conviction are lower than here, where all we think about is punishments. Um, because there's an entire system, and here I'm not saying there's no rehabilitation, there's no system. It's just not good enough. It's like,
Yeah.
and it's coming from me, and I studied like 2 years in
Hmm.
special care counseling, so I
Oh yeah.
talked to social worker, I talked to psychoeducator. I can't remember the name in English, but they study like people behavior. And if the emphasis was more on rehabilitation, society would be better. And what tells you that this ex-convict cannot add something to society? You just need to give them a fair shot. And that's hilarious, because this Black Mirror episode, with everyone blocked from that person still helped out in the investigation, but it doesn't matter because he did something wrong.
Mhm.
And that's punishment over rehabilitation. How can that person change his or her behavior if everyone's blocked? That person cannot change, that person cannot improve. It's blocked. It's like spending your life in prison for something you did.
Yeah, pretty
And
much.
this is how society is heading toward, because
Yeah.
we are blasting people. We are saying, oh, these people, we should unalive them, we should restore a death sentence and stuff like that. No, we just need to learn people better behavior, better lifestyle, better way of approaching things. So yeah, I even if I thought that was one of the weakest episode, I was entertained by the message that we're giving, and the ideas behind it are really good. I don't have much more to say here. What do you think of all I said?
Yeah, no, that was good talk. And again, there's also other like prisons and like Denmark or other countries or around Europe that do the opposite. They do a fantastic job. Like they even like help them like it's like not even like prisons. It's like actual like like regular like community facilities, honestly, with like pools and everything. And it fixes like literally the rate of them not reoffending is like 95% there, because it's not like fucking prisons like the U.S. and U.K. and they also help them like get them like jobs and law degrees and stuff for coming out, and businesses even. It's like if
It's
only.
the idea behind that is they build people up instead of tearing them down. They help them down. They help them out to learn a better way. They teach
Yeah.
them. They support them. They help
Yeah, and
them.
it also makes them spend their time doing activities and jobs instead of just having them sit on their ass in a cell for like years and then being lazy and like comfortable with this lifestyle. Like if you
Yeah,
haven't seen it yet, I would watch this Gordon Ramsay. He did this small show. It was like around 3 episodes or something called Gordon Behind Bars. This is the. I would watch it if you have time because it shows like how you should do this stuff more often, treat them, and how to get them, try to get them back on track. I think it's really interesting. It like forms like a business in there, and it's still running today.
you
Gets them to
do,
like learn how to cook.
you don't heal yourself by cutting yourself even more. You don't heal yourself from depression or something if you keep remembering and thinking about what went wrong in your life. And our system where we really want to punish our people, it's to remind them they were wrong. It's to remind them their sin instead of like saying, yeah, you can do better in the future. Because here, you did something wrong. I won't justify someone doing something wrong, but here, there's no forgiveness because we don't like forgiveness here. Um, and forgiveness is part of the healing process. Um, so yeah, I think this episode of Black Mirror is the 8.5 out of 10. Even if I really liked a lot of the ideas, the execution is where they failed for me. What about you?
And I like the execution and stuff, but I mean, I would give it like around like a 9.5.
Okay. So I really enjoyed the stream today, just like any other stream. I had a blast. Next week, 4:30 instead of 5:30, and 2 weeks from now, 7:30 instead of 5:30.
Yep.
So we will post the schedule and the discussion right after the stream. Is there anything else you'd like to add or share?
Nope, that's about it. Great week though, and again next week, there was actually one thing, just more so scheduled thing, just again next week, watch not only the Adventures with Superman episode, but that one special episode that came out for Invincible. So because of that, if you once again just you can just watch one episode of Black Mirror if you want to, it
Yeah.
not enough time because that's two other solo episodes of something else. So, just watch the one episode. That's it.
Yeah.
And I actually think it's one of the better episodes in the show. So I hope you enjoy it. I think it's also one that I think has a gut punch. So yeah, that's what I'll say.
Yeah, and that's funny because next week we got Smallville 4th season, Supergirl 3rd season, and Arrow 7th season. And I took a look at Smallville 4th season, the entire list of the episodes. That season will be rough.
Oh, I
But
started watching it. It's worse than Supergirl.
I cannot wait to roast the shit out of it. That will be hilarious, and that's funny because I know exactly which episode I can skip because they are shit. Devoted, where they have that drink, that makes them slaves. That one was terrible. I don't know what they were thinking. Or there was another really shit episode where that was the girl that kissed people to turn them ugly and crazy, and It's all about facade. There's also Spill that was kind of cringe, eye rolling shit. Yeah, season 4 is bad. That will be funny to roast. Um, so yeah, at least we got Arrow that has a really strong start. The back half has hit and miss. Some of the episodes in the back half of season 7 are really good. Others are not that great. But the first half, at least, of season 7 is wow. Some of the best things show did. Um, so yeah, I'm excited about next week. Um, Thank you very much. As usual, you are a great co-host. I'm proud of what we did for a full year now. And the main reason why I told you um, to clip some of the things we did over the podcast is for episode 100. Eventually, we will hit 100. I strongly believe that. I think we will do a special thing there, and we will take a look at what you put together as clips from the podcast. That's why I say take stuff from me, take stuff from DC, take stuff from yourself if you think you have good and relevant stuff to add in that montage, that edition of what we did over the years.
Yeah. Oh God. I mean, damn. That will take a while, but we have the playlist at least, and at least the content isn't gonna go anywhere because you're not gonna get your channel banned
I'm
from
not.
saying
I'm
racist
not.
stuff.
I'm not MSK.
Why? You sure you don't want to say a bunch of racist stuff? You sure you don't want to, call transgender people certain names to get, banned?
You really run after it. I mean,
God, imagine calling trans people transformer motherfuckers and then expecting not to get banned.
and it's wrong. And I one of my cousin is trans. So why should I blast them? I value them a lot.
Yeah, it's like, look, you can have like your political opinions on stuff that's going on and everything, but at the end of the day, I don't know why you would hate just an entire like group of people this much. It's like not everybody's like that, and like what not everybody is a trans person who just like decides to even like I'm not going to address that, but like what I think about that. But my opinion though is really I don't care. They can it's their life. I respect everybody, but
That's their buddy.
but
Yeah.
But however, even if you don't agree, people that just like completely transform from like a woman or man to like a man or woman, like there were many trans people who just grew up trans, like they didn't really grow up as either gender, and then they transformed into one. So to the one they that I personally felt like more. So it's like I don't understand, like I just it's so confusing to me some of the shit people would say. It's like they don't actually understand. It's like, yes, kids can be transgender because there's some kids who are like grew up as both forms of gender and then they have surgery as to become one of them. They're more of it's like, yes, you can be transgender and a kid. Fuck's sake.
And I think it's all about respect. We need to respect each other. We are human beings. We are different, and difference should never be factor of hate. I'm just very sad. I have a lot of empathy toward the victims, and it's also sad for the people that are treating victims because themselves they have issues. If you go out there on the internet to blast someone you don't even know because that person wants to be a man or a woman, you have issues of your own. You cope the wrong way with something.
You definitely have issues of your own that you're definitely just like miserable and hateful, and you want to just like deflect it. Like actually, it's like if you have those opinions, fine, but to constantly just do it and constantly just repeat the same talking points and bash groups of people, it's like you can have your opinions and you can like to do it and in the way that some have, not saying names, but it's like, good Lord, it just shows like how boring your life is that you feel the need to do that, and how like content dry you are, and how you just want to start shit. It's like fucking hell. And it's like the same people who do that are the same people who like purposely just, it's like they'll block off anybody, from their streams and stuff with like certain political or like opinions on things, and then they'll just intentionally like they'll search through like Twitter and stuff and search for keywords like people that have like hashtag like geeks and gamers hashtags in their bio, and then invite and then DM them to come onto streams. It's like they're the exact same as those type of people who do that shit. It's like stop creating this, like the
And
fact that you feel that it's just
that's hilarious because I remember going on streams where MSK was blasting anti-woke people. Oh, he was angry at them, and suddenly he flipped.
no, he again, no, it's like, because here's the thing, it's like he's a weird fellow. It's like he was very like far right at first, but but then all of us like Mike and everyone and K Dots and us like lowered him down, and we're also like you can have your opinions, but you have to kind of understand and see both sides, and also be like more professional on streams, and also like welcome everybody, like at least like respect and have on everybody of different opinions. And then he did that well for a good while, and had it not an echo chamber. But then it's like it's almost like he just decided to just like try something different, and then like did that for a little while, as if that's what we said to him, to then just completely go with like leaning on the fucking left, like being alt left now, and then went back to being the middle though, and then was pretty good. But then it's like it's almost like he then got popularity after doing that for a little while, and then got under pressure, and then decided to just say fuck it, and then just throw everything away and just go back to leaning on one side and only inviting people with that, and just create an echo chamber, and then just spouting the stuff like that stuff. Honestly, that's like what it felt. But whatever. Hey, if you want to do that, that's cool. I'm just saying though, like, I'm just saying it wasn't a smart decision for your viewership and channel, because you lost loads of viewers and subs from doing that, and then it wasn't a smart thing to do that with not being professional, or like no limit, because then it got you banned. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying you can do that if you want. It's your channel. I'm just saying you should have fucking planned out for the future and actually used your brain. That's all.
Now he's on Rumble.
Yeah, getting like 80 views per thing on Rumble, that site, right? I mean, he has his YouTube channel now. He had the second League of Legends esports channel he uses that he had like 750 subs on right now. He decided to then rebrand it into his main channel, where he'll do both League and now the main stuff on there again, just all in one. And the reason why he has that wasn't banned was because it was made with James's email and phone number, his friends. So that's why it wasn't banned. But yeah.
And that's a bit funny because speaking of Rumble, I also started uploading our third season of our podcast on Rumble, and I don't share the link anywhere, and some of the episodes are doing weird numbers. I'm not saying
Really?
it's crazy numbers, but I don't share anywhere, and I don't have any subs, but people are still watching.
No, Rumble is, when you create a Rumble and start uploading videos, that's one of the good thing that Rumble's actually for. It's a good way to get viewerships early on. It's like 100 views and stuff. Like, it's a good site for that to help you out. But the hard part is getting more than that, though, because Rumble's not a popular or very good site. Obviously, it's a fine alternative, but it's not popular, and it's like fucking Daily Motion. So getting any more outside of that in the beginning is pretty much impossible. But still, it's a good alternative to have at least. And if YouTube does stupid shit, like their guidelines, like if you make content that would not be allowed on YouTube, then you can upload it to Rumble, I guess. Like we've been doing that. Like we've been having a lot of game night streams on channels like Mrs. I don't know if you're sub to them, but
Yeah, I took a look to a few of her game nights. That's funny. That's entertaining.
Yeah,
I would say.
and that's the stuff that would get like strikes on YouTube. So we have to then delete them and re-upload them onto Rumble. But yeah,
These are entertaining, I will say.
yeah,
I wish she came. Eventually, I hope she will come. Um,
yeah. We'll see.
that could be
There's no
interesting to
guarantee,
have
but
someone, a woman opinion on stuff. Um,
yeah, yeah. I don't know when. Might not even happen. But they said they would be interested. If they ever have the time. Same thing with everybody else. And Parker, which he has been able to recently. So we'll see. But yeah, no guarantee. But
yeah,
anybody who says that they'd be interested, if they can show up, I'll just add, and it's up to them. They no pressure. They don't have to. But if they ever do, then that would be fun. Which is also why then we should probably transition to server thing instead of having the group chat as much. Because I think the limit is like 10 people, so eventually we'll run out. But yeah.
as I said, once we hit 10, I will create a second chat for us three, you, DC, and I, and on that other channel, on that other discussion, we will add more if we hit
Right.
10 with the main one. The idea is these discussion we have is to plan stuff out. um, so yeah. Anyway, if you have been watching, thank you very much. Like, comment, and subscribe. And Cole, thank you very much again. You are amazing. Take care. We will talk later and have a good one, Cole.
Yep. You too. Have a good night.